Good morning and welcome back to day 3 of the New Zealand Track National Championships here in Cambridge at the Grassroots Trust Velodrome. Your commentary team this morning is myself, Cullen Brown, and Graham Hunt. Hanno, how are we doing this morning?
We're doing great. It's been a great 2 days of competition so far, and we're expecting the same this morning. As you'll see, the program's really busy and full for these under 17, under 15 riders, and in an ideal world, you probably want a little bit more space around some events, but the quality of racing has been very high over these days. The times, the race performances, and the depth of fields has been really encouraging. So I expect to see that today and tomorrow, and really looking forward to the first event up, the under 17 girls sprint qualifying.
Absolutely, busy day yesterday here with racing not finishing up till around 11 p.m. last night. COVID and the introduction of under 15, under 17 and the para riders here making it a really busy schedule. How are we looking this morning for events?
There's a good mix of events this morning, starting with the sprint qualifying under 15 girls and boys derby, which is a scratch race, starting from a held position in the middle of the straight. So it's a sprint event for under 15s. It's a very cool race to watch. You see a lot of riders heading out early, a lot of riders tactically riding. So it's a good sprint event for our young riders, good race to learn from. We go then to the under 17 boys points race heats. Obviously running through the sprint program as we go as well. So a big day of sprint racing for under 17 girls, under 15 boys and girls, points races for under 17 boys. So another big day on the track for everyone. Really looking forward to it. If we can see the quality of racing we had yesterday, I think we're in for a cracker day.
Yeah, it should be an awesome day. Just chat a little bit about the racing last night. Very hectic points race for the elite men last night with only about 6 or 7 riders left with 50 laps to go. Do you have any thoughts on that one?
Points race is a really great race to watch. I think it's an event that you can't hide in. It exposes you, your physical conditioning, your tactical and technical awareness. It really stresses everything, and just seeing, you know, the way that the guys really ripped into it. Small number left at the end, but everyone was really really competitive and combative as well. So yeah, it is a really great race to watch. A long race, obviously, and you know, there's quite a bit of attrition there, but you know, George Jackson was very strong throughout the race, and in the end won it in commanding fashion. Yeah,
dominant win for George Jackson. Obviously taking a lap with Khan Groob, Dan Bridgewater and one other rider. Do you remember who that 4th rider was in that group?
No, I don't. Sorry. Might have been Kean Watts, I think.
Kean Watts, I believe. Yeah.
So, you know, it's a strong group of bike riders. Yeah. If you want to be in a break with a rider, you know, there's an honest group of riders there. You know, Dan Bridgewater's will always give his best. So here we are now, first rider on the track, Michaela Perry from Wellington. So you will have seen, or maybe you saw yesterday, the men's and women's sprint, elite men and women's sprints, and you'll see that they start from the back straight, so they'll be pushed off onto the track, and they corkscrew up the track. So you see now that Michaela's just starting to get some height on the track. She'll use the transitions to drop down into the back straight, just pick up a little bit more speed there, move up the transition into the top of turn 3 and 4 without using too much effort. So the sprint race is all about efficiency. It's about efficiency of the line, moving up in the line you take, the efficiency of your acceleration, and also the efficiency of your pedalling. You would have noticed last night that the men and women ride considerably bigger gears than that. Under 17 riders are restricted in their gears to 7 metres, or 7 metre rollout. One revolution takes them 7 metres forward as a maximum. So it becomes, this event's much more about efficiency of pedalling, very high cadence, and you'll just watch and see how smooth Michaela is on the pedals, how fast she can accelerate, and it's nice cadence, nice control through the hips. So Michaela's just coming through now, just a few metres to go, run through, 14.390. So good start.
Awesome benchmark time. Well done, Michaela.
So it was a good ride. You know, throughout that she was, you know, she got to the top of the track, nice, without too much effort. Accelerated well, good lines throughout the race. Can't ask for much more than that.
Yeah, it came with good speed off the embankment onto the front straight before she started her lap. We noticed she dropped in a little bit later towards that 200 metre line compared to our elites last night. Definitely due to the smaller gear, no need to really drop down to the black pole line there any earlier than that.
So now we see teammate Millie Donald just running through the same, nice and high on the track. Just riding nice and efficiently. Just accelerate a little down in the downhill run. We'll see it just come through the bend and it will just begin to accelerate. Just accelerating out of the seat, staying nice and high, following the transition of the track as she'll now drop down onto the pole line, just around the 200 metre line. So again, staying nice and low to the black line, the measuring line at the bottom of the track through the 100 metre mark. 7.15, second place at the moment. So nice and controlled to the finish line. 14.419. So that'll be second place at the moment. So Erin Green from Tasman. Erin just a little faster than the others through the stage and a little lower on the track. She's just slowly moving up now under the great guidance of Jason Craig from Nelson at these championships. So a lot of knowledge to be passed on there.
Yeah, great program coming out of Tasman at the moment.
It's exciting to have facilities. So nice and high on the track. Just slow down a little bit there. It's a good speed down the back straight. Just needs to accelerate a bit more through here. Use the transition. And again, nice and high. Just starting to accelerate. Accelerating a little later than the others, but that's not a bad thing by any means. Now just dropping down onto the starting strip. 200 to go. Just coming up to the 100 metres. 6.4 fastest time through the 100. See how that goes. 13.082 for the fastest time so far. So one of the things that the riders need to be a little bit mindful of is that they run very similar lines to, you'll see, the elite riders, but obviously with the elite riders on considerably bigger gears, they need to start accelerating much sooner to ensure that they're up to max speed at the 200 metre line. On restricted gears, obviously they don't need to jump quite so early to do that, but they still need to ensure that they're using the track as well as they can to maximise that acceleration.
Yeah, you see some of our elite riders really starting to jump halfway through the embankment before they come around onto the front straight, whereas with these junior gears you can almost afford to jump just coming down off the embankment onto the front straight. You're easily able to get on top of that gear with that run down.
Yeah, you want to hit the 200 at nice speed, near your max speed. So if you go too early, you end up with most of your race before the 200. So here we have Geraldine Leaf from Northland. So we'll see her nice cadence, accelerating down towards 100. Second place so far, 6.8. Crosses the line now, 13.715. It puts her in second place on the leaderboard at the moment.
Another Tasman rider up now, Michaela McDonald, is coming round for her first lap.
So see quite quickly she's gone to the top of the track. Nice pace, not too fast, not too slow.
Yeah, obviously wanting to be hitting that 200 line at basically as fast as you want to be going. You don't want to do a negative split from the 100 metre line through to the finish. So basically just go as hard as you can and then just holding on to it for the last 100.
Yeah, there's a bit of a fine art You know, you come in too hot, you'll lose too much time. In the last 100, you know, somewhere around a tenth of a second between the first and second 100 is generally pretty good. You know, obviously if you're going faster through the second 100, then you've obviously undercooked it coming in. As we see here, Michaela just hitting the timing strip. Nice speed through there, nice and low on the bike, nice and aero. Coming through the 100. First place, 6.2, it's a nice time. .588, first time under 13 seconds. It's a very good time. It's a very, very good ride from Michaela there. I think you saw her hit the 200 good, you know, at the right speed, very quickly into a nice aero position, really well on top of the gear, really efficient pedaler, nice and controlled through the hips, and able to accelerate nicely. So it's an excellent ride. Technically very good. So now we have Hannah Payne from Waikato Bay of Plenty, obviously very experienced on this track. So obviously in the program this is a 200 metre sprint qualifier, but in reality it's 3.5 laps. A lot longer than 200 metres. 200 metres is the timing part of it, but being able to ride with efficiency to get up to that maximum speed so that you put out all of your effort over 200. So the acceleration needs to be well managed, as we see Hannah now just accelerating down, coming across the start-finish line. Now just dropping down using the transition of the banking. Again, nice cadence. You see her trying to build on the gear at the moment, coming through second place, 6.3. So we are 12.732 in second place. So times, as we'll expect in a seeded qualifying list, will start to get a little faster. Just a reminder that New Zealand record is 11.932. Jen Borthwick from Canterbury set that in 2019 here. So it's a very, very good time.
Yeah, anything down around those low 12s mark, low 12s is really, really fast. So it'll be interesting to see how our last 4 riders go.
Indeed, yeah. And there's some good riders in there.
Yeah. Piper Russell up on the track now of Waikato Bay of Plenty. Second in scratch race final yesterday, I believe. Obviously has a strong kick on her. We'll see how she looks to go.
So again, she'll know her way around this track really well. While all tracks look the same on TV, they all have their subtle differences, and it does take a little wee bit of time to, I guess, acclimatise to each track. The track obviously can be different widths and lengths. Obviously you've got 250 metres at measuring point, but so tracks will have subtly different transitions. The flows off now as Piper's dropping down the straight, those transition points can be subtly different. So the lines you ride in each track will be a little wee bit different. And also the opportunities to pass in the match sprints later will change on different tracks. So Piper coming through now, first place, 12.560.
Just edging out our previous fastest time, Michaela McDonald, who was 12.588, so 0.02 of a second separating them there, showing just how small the margins are at this level.
And Caitlin Kelly on the track at the moment, second in the individual pursuit on the first day.
And third in the scratch race as well. Another strong sprinter.
Strong sprinter, very experienced rider for a young rider especially. Again, just keeping it nice and managing a speed, managing the line, letting the track deliver her good speed, or free speed as we call it.
Yeah, looking really calm and comfortable, just coming around the front straight.
So just accelerate a little bit down that transition. Just look for the timing. Just accelerating slowly now. Dropping off the transition into the finishing straight as she comes over the start-finish line now, just dropping down onto the pole line at the 200. Very fast, nice aero position, nice and low on the front. Ripping into this well. fastest, 6.05. It's a very good time. Expected time of maybe 12.2, 12.3 maybe, 12.1. Very good.
Hangs on to it nicely for a 12.134.
Yeah, she did hang on to that very well. It's a well-executed ride. So again, we're starting to getting closer and closer to Jenna's 11.932. Still a bit of work to do, but
Be interesting to see how Megan Baker of Canterbury goes. She is our rider on the track now. She is the winner of the IP from the first day of racing. Interesting to see individual pursuit, sorry. Interesting to see how she transitions across into the sprint event. Obviously, riders able to do very well at both.
So what we've seen at both Canterbury Champs and Southland Champs earlier this season is that Meg's a very good rider across all events and very consistent performer. So, expecting to see a quality performance today from Meg.
Yeah, to best Caitlin Kelly's time of 12.134, really getting down low towards that 12 flat mark and really close to that national record, so this could be really interesting.
It is. Very fast at the moment. You see a very high cadence.
Slightly more upright, but really driving that gear down the back straight.
Fastest 5.9, so we're expecting something around 12 flat here. 11.993.
Whoa, 12 barrier has been broken.
Very, very good time there. So this throws out the gauntlet to Jodie Blackwood from Auckland. Another young rider who's looking strong in the sprint events. So again, nice and slow on the track.
Oh.
And maybe a little bit too slow. Yep, so the officials will just go across, make sure she's okay. So again, you see the fine line. So we'll see you can see that the speed on the track obviously needs, you need to be going fast enough to stay upright, keeping good power or good weight on the pedals so that the bike doesn't slip from underneath you. 43%, 43-degree bankings there, so it's pretty steep. If you get the chance to have a look, go in this middle of the corner at the top and look down the track. So she's just getting pushed away again from Jason Craig. So there is a minimum speed that you can ride there. It is to your advantage to ride as slow as you can in the first lap or so. So she's just a bit pushed off. She'll now get 3 laps to go, so it's still the same 3.5 laps. And also too, riding through that Grassroots Trust velodrome sign, maybe just a little less traction on that space. You see her now just a little wee bit faster. Certainly doesn't want to do that again. Nice and high on the track. Just using the track here to build a little wee bit of speed. Keeping nice and aero. Using minimum effort now to achieve maximum effort later. Maintaining a very nice aero position. Just accelerating now, out of the seat nice and early. Dropping out of turn 4 through the transition, crossing the start-finish line. A bit lower on the track than some, hitting the 200 line now. Down the back straight, very high cadence. Second time through the 100 metre. Let's see how he hangs on here. Third time. 12.246.
So Meg Baker holds on with the only time below 12 seconds in 11.993 to qualify fastest for our under 17 girls sprints.
It's a very good time. You know, we see that it's it's what, 0.6 of a second away from national record, set here in 2019 by Jenna Borthwick. So, you know, very good time. And again, you know, the top 4 riders, all kind of 11.9 to 12.5, I think we have here. So, you know, quite a nice spread of times. Be a very good sprint competition.
Yeah. Nice tight grouping across kind of our top 5, top 6 riders there. Really good to see. So just looking at the results here in front, got Meg Baker in first in an 11.993, followed by Caitlin Kelly in the low 12s and Jodie Blackwood in third, Russell Piper in fourth, Michaela McDonald in fifth, Hannah Payne in sixth, Erin Green in seventh, rounded out top 8 by Geraldine Leaf of Northland.
So you're going to have to be on your game tactically, you know, to stand on the podium in this competition later on today. So, you know, with times that close and that tight, you know, the small mistake in the match racing, you know, could see you, you know, battling your way back through a second or third ride. So this is going to be a great competition, very good riding, and I think that's what we've seen over the previous 2 days. Is that, you know, while it's encouraging seeing the times and performances at the sharp end of the race, what's most encouraging is that, you know, we're seeing really good depth of performances. You know, the depth of times through the field's been really strong. The quality of racing, you know, through the whole field has been a really high standard. So if we can continue doing that, this will be a really memorable week's competition.
Exactly. No real dominant riders. We have a small grouping there that are kind of taking out the top positions, but really intense racing between them, and the girls kind of outside that bubble still really pushing them as well. So looking now to the first round of the under-15 girls derby at the Track National Championships.
So we just have the first heat of the under-15 girls derby, or derby. First round, heat 1. We have from Canterbury on the inside, Lizzie Thompson. Coming into second place will be Kendra Gray from Waikato Bay of Plenty. The Auckland rider in third position is Nina Worrell. And the Canterbury rider, and the Southland rider on the outside is Poppy McIver. So this is a 6-lap race from a standing start. They'll be under the starters, they rolled up here to the start finish line. So 6 laps. It's a 6-lap scratch race basically from a standing start here. So this, you know, 6 laps, 1.5 kilometres. It's quite a, you know, it's a race you've really got to think about what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, and how you're going to do it. You know, you can't go from the gun, but you can go hard from the start and put the other riders under pressure. You know, you're not going to win it solo off the front. So we see there that Kendra Gray's just pushed out and gone a little higher on the track.
Yeah, going to be really interesting to see how this one plays out across 6 laps. Obviously quite different to a lot of events. Kind of midway between an endurance event and a sprint event. So going to see who's willing to take it up early and who's happy to just sit back and wait for that last lap.
In some ways a little wee bit like a Kieran without the motorbike.
Exactly. No assistance to get you through the first 3 laps.
So again, you know, if we think about Kieran's or races similar, the elite riders on very big gears, they're able to hit out, you know, sometimes with 3 laps to go off the back of the motorbike and sustain the sprint through that period. On these restricted gears that they're riding here, 6.61 I believe, it's very difficult to maintain that high cadence and that high speed for that long. So it does become a lot more tactical. Timing becomes a lot more important.
Yeah, you often see a limiting factor for our bigger junior riders that they run out of leg speed before they run out of power, allowing the riders behind them to come back onto the wheel, just using that slipstream and able to slingshot around them. So timing is really crucial at this level.
Yeah, indeed. So you see the Auckland rider, Nina Worrell, on the inside, just tracking through on Lizzie Thompson's wheel there. So she's in a nice position out of the wind, but she does need to make sure she's got a way out. And you can see that she's just hopefully trying to keep Kendra a little bit higher so she can push out. So 2 laps to go. So Lizzie's just starting to accelerate a bit more as Poppy comes around the outside. So Lizzie's just accelerating, making sure that Poppy can't get past her and has to stay wide on the track. We see Lizzie holding Poppy high. Poppy still hasn't been able to come over the top yet. Nina in that third place really hasn't got anywhere to go. She needs to try to push up and find a way out. Kendra in 4th place.
Yeah,
it's a very well controlled race from Lizzie here. Taken strong control of the whole race, managed to speed well, didn't accelerate too fast too soon, and just basically held the other 3 riders on her hip or behind her. So it's tactically a very, very good ride, especially as we are the first round of the Derby.
Yeah, nice tactical ride from Nina Worrell as well. Just happy to follow Lizzie through. Just happy to sit on the wheel, come through for 2nd place and secure a place in the next round.
Yeah, you do have to think about, I mean, they've got a much bigger program by session than they would have normally. And just being smart about how you go about getting into the next round is going to be useful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Nina just not even seeing the front in that one, so obviously conserving energy well. Be interesting to see how she goes in the next round. Do you know 2 or 3 riders going through from this one, Hano? Is it just the 2?
The top 2 from each heat go through.
Awesome. So we will see Lizzie Thompson of Canterbury and Nina Worrell of Auckland going through to the next round.
So heat 2, we have 5 in this heat. So just a reminder too that there is an A and a B final here. So on the inside of the track, we have Shayla Sayers. Shayla Sayers from Canterbury. Then we have Piper Newton from West Coast North Island in 2nd position. Olivia Ewing from Mid-South Canterbury in 3rd position. The Southland rider is Emily Forsyth, and the Waikato Bay of Plenty rider is Pearl Brody. So the same as last time. So again, 6 laps, total distance. First 2 through to the A final, the second 2 through to the B final. So we see Pearl Brody from Waikato Bay of Plenty just taking the lead through that corner. Just looking over her shoulder to see where Shayla is. So Shayla has been probably the standout under 15 here this weekend.
Yeah, going to be a tight battle in this heat. We've got all of the top 3 from the under 15 girls elimination in this heat, and only 2 of them can go through to the next round. So could be really tight here towards the end.
So timing position is going to be really important. So if you're on the inside, you really want to make sure you've got a way out. You can follow the fast wheels.
Exactly. Nina Worrell in that last heat almost getting lucky, just being towed through to the line there. Could easily see in this ride if someone gets stuck down on the bottom, they could get overhauled at the line by people coming around the outside.
So you see there that Shayla is a little higher, but obviously now she's starting to push forward. But she had a way through there, whereas the West Coast North Island rider, Piper Newton, at the back there is going to have other things happen in front of her to get out of that space. So it's really important that you position yourself so that there is a way out. So Piper would want to be pushing Olivia Ewing up a little bit so she can see a way through there.
Four wide on the track now, Piper Newton. Oh, sorry, no. Yeah, sorry, Piper Newton of West Coast North Island, just content to sit back and just watch the four in front of her.
So coming through with 2 to go. Things will change quite quickly in front of her over the next 2 laps as well, but you just need to be thinking and looking, well, what's in front of me? How do I improve position? How do I keep myself in the race here without having to ride 5 wide? So here they go now, just accelerating. So the riders on the inside obviously riding a lot shorter. I think it's something like 17 metres difference track distance at the blue line. So we see now that Shayla's really kicked out, opened up a couple of lengths. And Olivia Ewing from Southland just trying to close that down with Piper Newton just kicking forward now. So nice way out. She's got a little bit of work to do to try to qualify for the A final. So we'll have Shayla and
Emily Forsyth.
And Emily Forsyth for the A final.
Piper Newton trying to make a late run at it, but just running out of track there.
Indeed. So that's was a good wee race, that one. So we can see, just as with the other bunch races, that Shayla's been dominant in taking control of the race and making sure that she's able to ride her race, giving herself plenty of time and space to do that.
Exactly, just like the elimination, happy to lead it out, confident in her strength, and really just carrying that through to line with daylight behind her.
That's right. Like a lot of people will tell you, you need to stay out of the wind. You need to, kind of protect yourself from the wind, make it easy for yourself. But at the same time, the racing happens at the front, and sometimes you need to be confident to ride in the wind.
Exactly, just willing to exert that energy. Riders spend a lot of time on the track, 6 laps, not a big deal to them.
So the under-15 boys, Derby, first round, same as the previous race. So we see Heat 1, the under-15 boys Derby, first round. Coming through into position 1, we have Joshua Hannon from West Coast North Island. Into position 2, we have Hunter Ballard from Auckland. Position 3, Lachlan Kelly from Southland. And position 4 is Jamie Henderson from Waikato Bay of Plenty. So again, just some final adjustments of Lachlan's number. So now, just a correction that the Derby for the boys is 3 laps, which is correct. There was just some errors in the first 2 rounds at 6 laps. So we're away now with Jamie Henderson just pushing out of position 4, sorry. Probably, as we've seen with the eliminations, the best thing to do in that position is to come right forward and to drop down on the front. But Josh Hannon really wants to hold that position. So you see it's slightly different with 3 laps. They really need to fight for the front a little bit more, coming through with 2 to go. So the girls, unfortunately, with their 6-lap effort, changed it quite a lot. But the race now is on with Jamie really trying to push over the top of Josh. He's out of the seat now trying to get forward, but he just can't quite get his back wheel in front. So Jamie Henderson being challenged really hard by Hunter Ballard from Auckland. So looks like Hunter Ballard will comfortably take this one. Jamie's going to have to fight off Josh Hannon and Lachlan Kelly. So coming through quite comfortably, Hunter Ballard from Auckland will take that out.
And Jamie Henderson just holding on at the line there as well. Yeah, obviously the 3 laps making a big difference there right from the start, really kicking on. Imagine by the end of that 3, they're really feeling that.
Yeah, it's quite a bit different. And for those of you that have seen Kieran's or watched them last night, Kieran, the final off the bike is 3 laps, and it replicates that a little more. The timing for tactics is a lot smaller. You need to be in position a lot faster. And everything happens a wee bit quicker. You don't really have some time to settle in. You've got to be settled in on the start line and be really clear on how you want to race.
How do you think that standing start to a max effort in such a short time kind of affects them, Hunter?
Well, again, it's how effective you can get off the line. It's not necessarily a start like you would in a 500-metre time trial, but you do need to get away quite quickly and get in the position that you want to get into. So if you want to get to the front, you need to manage that as quick as you can. But at the same time, you don't want to use all your effort in the start, because you still have to run the finish, run the sprint at the end.
You can quite easily find yourself leading out from a full 3 laps to go and having a couple of riders come from behind you and overhaul you just in the last 50 metres.
Yeah, for sure. So I see this second heat on the line. On the inside, we have Nicholas Smith from Waikato Bay of Plenty, the Mid-South Canterbury rider, Connor Toomey. So that Auckland rider is David Kwan. West Coast North Island rider is Ben Murphy, and the Southland rider on the outside is Oscar MacGyver. So in the sprint or the kind of power events over the weekend, David Kwan has been one of the dominant riders. So it'll be interesting to see how the Aucklander goes in this. He's just dropping in at the back at the moment.
Yeah, I think 2 favourites for this one have to be David Kwan and Ben Murphy, our top 2 qualifiers in the 500 metres early on this week.
So I can see that Ben's really keen to put pressure on the field, and he wants to make sure that the others are having to race, they're being forced to race. So we can see now a split. So David Kwan's coming across. They're going to get the bell next lap. But those 2 on the front are under pressure from Connor Toomey. 2 go through. So Connor Toomey's now on the wheel. Ben Murphy's hit out really hard. Is he going to be able to hold on? Was that tactic the soundest one? So at the moment he's under pressure and he's going to have to fight back. So David Kwan quite comfortably taking that one through, and tracking through into second place we have Connor Toomey.
Ben Murphy, they're really paying for that early effort. Connor Toomey riding a really smart race, just following David Kwan across and then just overhauling Ben there at the end.
Exactly. I think it just shows, that even, 3 laps, 750 metres, it kind of doesn't look that long, but, you have to manage your effort across that time. A maximum sprint that you can ride might be somewhere, 10 or 12 seconds or something at full gas, maybe a little bit less. So trying to do 3 laps at full gas is, can be problematic unless you've got a very big gap on your opposition. So we saw that, David Kwan and Connor were able to ride across at that point. So again, you've a big tick for taking the field on and giving it a crack. That's how we become better at things, is by trying, coming back and reflecting, and asking ourselves the question, what did I do well and what would I do differently next time?
Yeah, he'll learn for that for sure. Good learning experience. Also a good test of the legs as well, just to see what happens over 750 metres.
Indeed, it's and a good race too. He did definitely put pressure on the rest of the field, and the 2 riders that did get across had to fight pretty hard for that.
Exactly. Certainly made it difficult for David Kwan there. Put him under some pressure, I imagine. Saw that gap opening out in front of him and really had to push hard there. Just waiting on a couple of holders here just so we can get this final heat underway.
So riders just coming up to the line now. Position 1, we have the Canterbury rider, James Arroyo. Then we have the first of the Waikato riders. I think that looks like Carter Payne. Then we have the West Coast North Island rider, Zach Willett. 189 is Dylan Rowe from Waikato Bay of Plenty, and Mid-South Canterbury rider is Jesse Johnston.
Yeah, obviously Carter Payne, strong rider, second in our points race earlier on, and also third fastest qualifier in the 500 metre as well.
And in these races too, if you know the riders, you know, Carter and Dylan obviously ride here a lot, and on a 250 track, you know, obviously the track's a lot shorter than the tracks that they'll have raced on continuously through the season. And so obviously position's important. And, you know, for the other riders on big open tracks, they have more opportunities to pass.
Jesse Johnston just kicking on now, small gap opening up. Looks like Carter Payne chasing, but that gap's open now. Let's see how he holds on coming through for the bell lap now.
So Jesse still has a gap there. Expect Carter to ease up onto that space.
Zach Willett really banking on Carter Payne closing that wheel up, or just jumping him there at the end. Here we see him coming around the outside.
Yeah, his risk is now is that if Carter has to pass, then he's going to force Jesse wide. So
as we saw there, just the junior gears almost running out of leg speed there, in a nice position, but with Carter coming up the track as well, coming up on the Mid-South Canterbury rider, just ran out of track and having to go the long, long way around as well.
yeah, one of the issues, I guess, with the smaller gears is that those riders that are able to pedal very fluently, very efficient on the gears, can obviously get, you know, better RPM and obviously faster speed. So, you know, if you're watching riders, you know, you'll see some that are very fluent through the hips and able to achieve very high cadence, very efficient. And other riders, when the speed gets high, start to bounce around a little bit in the saddle, and you can see them struggling to maintain the high cadence. So it's definitely a skill to work on and to be good at. You know, even riders riding the ridiculously big gears we see internationally now, they're still riding those gears at high cadence. So, you know, what you learn now is what you can take forward into your senior years, and
Yeah,
you know,
I think
it's what makes a difference.
just reflecting on my own junior days, I remember racing Campbell Stewart at the likes of TA Tour and things, and just seeing his leg speed on the road as an under-17 obviously carries across really well from the track, and I think he's still carrying that through to today. Obviously great seated power that we see on the track and on the road now.
Yeah, it's one of the fundamental skills. You know, like that's how you propel your bike is pedaling, and the better you are at it, and the more efficient you are at it, then, you know, obviously you're going to, you know, ride those longer races and not, you know, I guess not waste so much energy. Able to accelerate nicely on a gear seated rather than having to accelerate out of the seat. So again, you know, how much effort can you save during a race to maximize your speed at the end of it when you really need it? So here we have the first round of the sprint competition. The riders just preparing themselves on the track.
So just looking now to the under-17 girls sprint first round, and this one
So here we have Erin Green from Tasman, position 1, and Millie Donald from Wellington in position 2. So Erin will have to take the lead, and she has to take the lead until the pursuit line, or the red line at the middle of the back straight, and she must get there at no slower than walking speed. So it's her responsibility to take the lead. The Wellington rider could choose to come in front of her, but Erin can't slow down to force that to happen. She has to take the lead. So sometimes you might see a commissaire walking on the straight beside them just to make sure that that's being achieved. So Millie just a little bit higher on the track. Michaela just riding nice and low, able to control where Millie rides on the track and how she might pass. So now Millie comes in nice and tight on Michaela's wheel, on Erin's wheel, sorry. So Erin Green in quite good control. Just looking around, be good to look around maybe a little wee bit more, but just keeping a good eye on her, seeing where she is. So again, Millie goes high. But Erin hasn't been encouraged to follow her, which then gives Millie a way to come underneath. So Erin's riding this quite controlled at the moment, keeping Millie nice and high, accelerating. She'll drop down onto the black line soon and just accelerate through the back straight. Millie trying to close it on the slipstream, but is not able to close the gap. So Erin quite comfortably will take that win through in the first round. So just confirming that the top 6 have gone through to the next round. So obviously we need 8 riders in the next round. So the top 6 have gone straight through. That we have 2 heats here. The next one will be Geraldine Leaf and Michaela Perry. The winners of those will go through to make 8 for the next round. So that's how this competition's put together. So then we'll go, which that 8 will be technically be the quarterfinals, then we go to semifinals and finals. So a big day of racing for these guys. So we see Michaela Perry from Wellington, just going through final thoughts, and Geraldine Leaf from Northland.
Yeah, Geraldine, our 7th fastest qualifier, going up against Michaela, our 10th fastest qualifier. So be interesting to see how this one unfolds, how Michaela chooses to ride this one. Obviously she's leading it out, but will she force Geraldine to come through, or will she be happy to lead her into the last lap and confident that she can hold her off?
Well, I guess those decisions come down a little wee bit to how confident you are to ride. A lot of people feel more confident riding from the back. But with a bit of experience riding from the front, you have much more control.
Exactly. Control of that sprinting lane can be super important.
It can. You can, from the front, you can dictate the speed of the race, the position of the race. You can, where you put position 2, rider 2. You
can see they're just needing to maintain that walking pace through to the halfway mark. They're getting a little bit close to stalling out, but there we go, and they've crossed it now. Will we see some track stands in this under 17 girls sprint?
I don't think so. I think they're quite confident what they're doing at the moment, and they'll stick with that. But you saw before where Geraldine went high on the track and Michaela followed her up, and it opened up a lane underneath for Michaela to be attacked. And so you just got to be careful that you don't, I guess, get conned into following riders into a position on the track where you can't manage so much the positioning. So again, where Michaela is now, she needs to hold Geraldine there, so now she's opened up that gap that Geraldine's able to drop into. But quickly Michaela drops in the front. So a nice move from both of them at that time. A nice move from Geraldine to come through to the front, and a nice move from Michaela to take the, to get back to the front. So
Coming through with
good
one
racing.
lap to go now. Geraldine almost just testing out how dedicated to that sprinters lane Michaela actually was. Looks like Geraldine overhauling her now into the final bend. Takes over the sprinters lane. Going to come through for a comfortable victory, I think, in this first round.
The Geraldine just a little wee bit stronger at the end of that race. But there was some good racing from both of those riders there. Some good things that they can go back and take a look at the video on. There's always room for improvement, but I think that you could see that they were thinking about what they were trying to achieve and trying to put some plans into action. So it's good work.
Yeah, good to see some tactics there.
Well, I think it's it really is good coaching. We're seeing good coaching across the country, and with that, it helps the riders make better progress.
Yeah, obviously not many riders coming out of Northland. Do you think Geraldine's making the trip down to Auckland quite a lot, or have they got a good little program running up there?
No, they're a fair way north, so but they do have a good program up there. They're providing opportunities for young riders. I think the big thing is lots of racing opportunities. It's where you enact the things that you've been practicing.
Exactly, really good signs as well. If you can keep your head and just implement the things that you've been learning at a national level, like when you arrive here at nationals, and that's really good signs for the future. Just showing really smart riding.
We know that people, will stay in sport, or they'll stay doing anything if they are confident that they're improving, they're getting better. And as you get better, you enjoy it more. And as you enjoy it more, you're more likely to stay, and your race results will follow that. So, if you continually strive to improve skills, to improve your tactical, tactical and technicals, you're becoming a stronger, psychologically, you're becoming a really good decision maker. Then, as those things improve, your confidence will grow. So we'll go through to sprint quarterfinals soon. So let's just have a little bit of a gap here. There were to be under 17 girls points race heats, but they aren't required, as we have able to attain track limits without heats. So we'll just have a bit of a gap here, as you can appreciate with the modified programs here. Some of the events are quite close to each other, so we don't want to be having those two young women that have just raced their sprint round to come straight out for the quarterfinals. So from time to time through the day, there will be some manufactured breaks. So use the opportunity to grab a cold drink, a nice cup of tea or a nice glass of water or something.
We'll just talk a little bit about the under-19 men's scratch race last night, Hannah. Big field, lots of really fast riders in there. Oliver Watson and Palmer really coming through strongly to take that victory, taking a flyer with 1 lap to go. Do you have any thoughts on that race? Obviously, they raced it really, really hard from the get-go.
Yeah, it's pretty typical of a under-19 scratch race that we see at the nationals over the years. And again, the winner riding a very, very smart race, always kept himself in the race, always in contention. Position was always good, but never in a position where he's having to recover or chase or close gaps. There's, where you sit in the bunch, will dictate how much energy you need to use. And that race was excellent. It was a very, very good race.
Yeah, Oliver really kept his head. Lots of small and big breaks went away in that race, and just saw him following wheels, making sure he's in the right place at the right time, but also not expending energy unnecessarily. And that kind of mindset, really, really good to see at national champs when you've got 5 days of really intense racing. Could see some good performances from him over the rest of the week as well.
Yeah, we just talked before about, the experiences that young riders have helped them make better decisions, and the decisions made by those, I guess the medalists last night in that scratch race were very good. They kept themselves in the race. They never had anxious moments. They knew what was going on around them. They knew when to make efforts, when not to, and the ability to make those decisions comes about from the racing you do week in, week out, the training, the conversations you have with your coaches. So you really want your athletes to be able to make good decisions fast. Exactly. And if you can make the right decisions fast, then you're in an even better position.
It's an integral part of an athlete's development. I think really being able to keep your head even when your heart rate's up in the red zone and you're that deep into a scratch race.
Exactly. When you're under pressure, making good decisions under pressure. Exactly. I guess the interesting thing with when young or less experienced athletes are making decisions, they don't always get them right. So for us as coaches, as parents, and all of those things, the most important thing is to help them make sense of those decisions and not to be judgmental. Because if we're critical of decision making that goes poorly, then people will stop making decisions and fall back on I guess more negative ways of doing things. So it's really important that we as coaches encourage young athletes to try different things and to understand what went well. One of the cool things with cycling is that there's really no such thing as a wrong tactic. It's just wrong for that occasion or not right for that occasion. So just be mindful that that what didn't work today in a different set of circumstances tomorrow could be exactly the right thing to do. So every experience you have, just lock away in the back of your mind, and at some point in a race in the future, you'll see how to maximise that opportunity.
Just wanting to touch on the elite women's elimination race from yesterday as well. Obviously, Bryony both are taking that one out, but 3 of the top 4, all development riders coming through, which is really cool to see. Some big rides in there, especially from Samantha Donnelly and Ella Wiley. They're rounding out 2nd and 3rd. Awesome to see strong riders coming up through in our women's elite grade.
I think that's that's the most important thing for our young riders, is that it does take time to, I guess, catch up with it, with elite riders, and having the patience to do that is really important. You're not going to step out of junior and be the best in the country. If you can, that's superb. We're certainly not going to throw it away, but at the end of the day, we know that that development takes time. And for those riders that have been patient to just keep working hard, working with their coaches, and to keep developing, that's absolutely critical. And for them to come out at national champs and start, delivering performances like that is really, really important.
Yeah, a few of you might have noticed the absence of Ali Wollaston as well. Unfortunately, she's out with COVID at the moment, so good opportunity for a few of our development riders to really nudge their way into those podium positions too.
Yeah, it is. It's very encouraging, and one of the things you see in development across all sport is that you have to be ready for opportunities, and the thing is you don't know when those opportunities are going to be there, and there's opportunities at the moment for a number of them, and you make the most of them when they come along. I think we see that in all sports, especially in team sports, for young players or young athletes, as they're tossed into a game at short notice, and how they're able to respond to that is will dictate what happens next for them. So be ready for the next opportunity to make the most of it.
Exactly, be ready to jump and really take that opportunity by the horns when you can. Never know where it might lead you.
So on the infield, we just see some of the sprinters just circulating, getting ready for the next ride. The 17 boys points race coming up, heats coming up. So those heats are always interesting because obviously we're trying to find 9 riders to go through to the final in each heat. So there's a lot of frantic racing to ensure that you can make the final. So the quarterfinals of the under-17 girls sprint competition at the Track National Championships just being readied. So the first riders coming up onto the track at the moment. We have Meg Baker from Canterbury, and in the blue behind her we'll see Geraldine Lee from Northland. So Terry Jai just pushing Meg up to the top of the track. Jason Craig will take Geraldine into position.
Yeah, just seeing Geraldine Leaf coming out of that last round now, coming up against top seed Meg Baker. This is going to be a tough ride for her.
It will be. But again, you know, the experiences of that last race, you know, she may have, you know, the tactical thinking to, you know, to put herself in a position to, you know, to potentially win this race. So.
Exactly. Good tactical decisions shown in the last round. So it'll be interesting to see how she pushes Meg here.
So not too much speed on here at the moment. Geraldine's quite comfortable just keeping Meg low on the track and not too fast. So one of Meg's strengths, obviously, her sustained speed. So if you force her to have to accelerate from a slower speed, then that may be a small advantage you have. So where Geraldine has to be thinking at the moment with a little bit more height on the track is she needs to be looking around a lot to make sure she knows exactly where Meg is and respond really quickly.
Exactly. Just making sure that Meg doesn't get the jump on her.
Or dive underneath, and that's really difficult to come back from.
Exactly. Trying to latch back onto that wheel and then having to come back around the outside as well after losing the sprinter's lane. Really challenging.
But just accelerating. So Meg, you know, Meg's obviously a very well performed under 17 rider. A lot of experience, and just see her accelerate over the top, have a quick look around to make sure everything's okay, and just ease off a little bit coming into the straight. She's got a lot of racing to do today.
Meg showing her class there and just taking that one out. Good to see from Geraldine, though. She's aware of where Meg was around her and good things going forward.
Exactly. So, you know, again, this is where you learn, you try things. You race against the best riders. You know, we see here the highest qualifier against a rider that come through that reselection process, and you know, I guess you expect the result to be like that. But there's so much for Geraldine to take out of that race.
Exactly. Can seem a little bit ruthless coming out as one of the lower qualifiers and immediately going up against the best, but on another perspective on it is you're literally learning from the best in your field as well. So hopefully Meg will have a little chat to her and they can just exchange some notes maybe.
So our 2 riders in the next heat, we have in the Tasman colours of red, blue and yellow, we have Erin Green and the Southland rider Caitlin Kelly.
A little smile from Caitlin Kelly there as well. Caitlin Kelly coming in as the second fastest rider from our qualifiers. Erin Green coming out of the last round as well. It'll be interesting to see how this one unfolds. All smiles from Geraldine as she came through the frame there. That's awesome to see.
So Erin and Caitlin just taking their positions. Erin in position 1. So as we were talking about before, position 1 will lead through the first nearly half lap. So they'll be receiving that instruction at the moment as well, or being just reminded of that.
Big push there for Erin Green. Sending her away quickly. She's going to open it up.
I think just putting a little bit of pressure on Caitlin.
Testing her out right from the gun. That's good to see. Little look over the shoulder just to see where she is. She's going to carry on digging here. Caitlin Kelly coming onto the wheel. Will she come around her early, or is she happy to just sit there?
Well, there's still 2 laps to go. So, you know, if you are the faster qualifier and stronger and very confident in your ability, then, you know, you'll just take the wheel and accelerate through.
Erin Green opening it up with 1 more to go. Caitlin Kelly early around the outside.
So Erin's riding strong here, really making it hard for Caitlin to pass. But Caitlin eases past going into turn 3 and just takes the lead. But again, you know, the good thing is Erin to try different things. You know, she could try an approach to stay in the race, and you know, where you know that potentially the result, you know, could be what it's going to be. So
exactly, nothing to lose there for Erin. So good to see her go out and really just push Caitlin, make her work for it. Good learning experience as well. Try anything at least once.
And sometimes it is the right thing to do. So, quarterfinal 3.
Sometimes going into these sprints as well, a rider might have a certain idea in their head of how it's going to unfold, and by just launching it right off the gun there, you can unsettle them. Maybe you saw Caitlin come round her early into that last lap. Maybe perhaps just a little bit unsettled by that early move and just wanting to advance quickly.
Indeed, yeah. So the 2 riders here on the inside, we have Hannah Payne from Waikato Bay Plenty and Jodie Blackwood from Auckland. So this will be a tight race, I think.
Yeah, into our automatic advances here. So Jodie Blackwood, 3rd fastest qualifier after a little fall. Looks like she's doing well now, so that's good. And Hannah Payne, 6th fastest qualifier. So it'll be interesting to see how this one goes. Obviously, quite small margins between them in qualifying.
This is definitely going to be a tough competition to win.
Hannah Payne just up the track a little bit, looking over her left shoulder, looking down at Jodie, just seeing where she is. Jodie looking happy to come through to the front now, in control of the sprinters lane.
Again, Hannah just drops underneath, and now Hannah has some control over what Jodie can do. Although Jodie gets out of that, just at the back, gives herself a little bit of distance. Just trying to push Hannah, just wants Hannah to go a little bit faster here. And you can see that Hannah's kind of being forced to ride faster and faster, so it's a good move from Jodie.
Jodie is out of the saddle. Looks like she's just cat and mouse and Hannah a little bit here. Trying to force her to open up earlier than perhaps she wanted to. Jodie coming around the outside now, coming into 100 metres to go now. Just easing ahead now. Hannah holding her own down on the black though. It's going to be tight coming through. Jodie just overhauling her through to the line. We'll take this one. Yeah.
just going as per qualification.
Interesting to see Jodie coming out of the saddle there. Not necessarily to sprint, but when Hannah looks back over her shoulder and sees Jodie out of the saddle, maybe just making her think that she is coming back at her and forcing her to open up maybe earlier than she wanted to.
Yeah, I think, you know, Jodie did a good job of controlling the pace at the front there. So now we have the final heat, quarterfinal 4. Piper Russell, a Waikato rider, just gone out of shot, and now we have Michaela McDonald from Tasman.
Our fourth and fifth seeded riders, so this should be the closest of the lot.
So they just drop down to the Côte d'Azur. Just as they build a little bit of speed at that pace, it's hard, very difficult to stay higher on the track.
Yeah, both riders really even in qualifying, so it could well just come down to who's got better tactics. Obviously just squashed halfway and looking for a little bit of track standing action here.
They both seem reasonably confident in that. So Piper's obviously keen for Michaela to take the front. So now it comes down to how well Michaela can control the front and the pace that Piper's able to attack her at.
Really good technical ability there shown by both riders. Really cool to see in our under-17 girls here.
Yeah, it is. So again, Piper just following Michaela.
Let's see if Michaela can play Piper at her own game here. Is she going to stall out and force her through?
Michaela here, it's best just not to offer 2 lanes to Piper, just one way to go.
Can be careful there. Got to be careful when you're doing that. Could
so
easily see.
Just drop down again and then takes a lot more control over the passing lane that Piper has or doesn't have.
Piper looking really comfortable, obviously spent a lot of time in here. Both riders climbing the track again.
So Piper's just able to drop underneath now. She can control. So Michaela will need to move out of that position, either move forward, which Piper can now control. So she keeps her nice and high. So Michaela can't do anything until Piper's out of the way.
Elbow to elbow, shoulder to shoulder, coming here to receive the bell. Awesome to see this tactical, technical racing here from these 2 under-17 girls. Piper kicks on now.
So Michaela coming back, this is going to be an interesting. Michaela, if she can really get that slingshot out of turn 4, this is going to be tight. Oh, was that Michaela just over?
McDonald, I think, coming around the outside, following maybe some of Sian Fulton's advice almost.
Well, it's not bad advice, to be fair.
No, really good advice.
So again, you could see that Piper was, controlling the speed and the position of Michaela on the track. But Michaela just potentially a little wee bit stronger. So again, just looking at that, Piper holding Michaela up on the fence, coming through to the bell. Piper has to leave enough space for Michaela at that point. She can't push her into the fence. So then there needs to be racing room. So it was a pretty tight. I'm sure that you need to be pretty confident to race through in that position. So well done to Michaela.
Yeah, the race really lived up to the hype there. Those 2 girls doing really good technical, tactical racing there. Showing really good skills, both mentally and physically on the bike.
And as you'd expect to from the two closest qualifiers. So the times are the closest. So Michaela McDonald taking that out from Piper Russell by the tightest of margins, I suspect. So again, you know, Michaela rode a very good race. She accelerated on the wheel well, and her passing manoeuvre through turns 3 and 4 were, you know, was very good, which put her in a good position to complete the pass on the finishing straight.
We saw the riders swapping positions, both leading each other there, going back and forth.
Yeah, I think they both, I guess, swap positions at different times of the race. So just having confidence to, you know, to ride in the position that they were forced into. So the under-17 boys points race heat 1, 5,000 metres, 20 laps, 3 sprints every 6 laps. So we have the riders in this race. The under-17 boys points race, heats final, 5,000 metres, heat 1. So we have Nate Barnes, JB Cantel-Roberts, Matthew Davidson of Canterbury, Pino Wolf from Canterbury, Finn Edwards, Southland, Frankie Thompson, Southland, Jack Eva, Waikato Bay of Plenty, Sterling Jarnell, Waikato Bay of Plenty, Josh Rowe, Waikato Bay of Plenty, Leighton Riley, West Coast North Island, and Alex Foden from Wellington. So that's your field. So there'll be 9 riders go through from each of these heats. So 3, I believe, will not go through to the final.
Classic points race here, so they'll have this first neutral lap through where they're just expected to be all bunched up before they'll get the gun to start the race. Then they will have 20 laps. Sprints will be at 15, 10, 5 and 0 with double points on the line at the last lap there. So they receive the gun.
So what you may see here is some riders get good early points, maybe a win the first sprint or the second sprint, and then be confident that they will go through to the final. And then at that point, they'll just keep themselves in reasonable position and try to maintain a good finishing position at the end. Others, if they're not getting points early, are really forced to chase points at the end. Obviously, with the double points, it becomes very helpful, but you've really got to ride quite a tactical race here. Sometimes the qualifying rides in these races can be harder than the final.
Top 9 riders going through from this heat.
Yes, the max field for under 17 riders is 18. 24 for elite riders, and for under 15s, I believe we run at 16.
So 11 riders total in this field, so only 2 to miss out. So just picking up some points at the lower end of one of the sprints could be enough to get you through here.
It could be, yeah. You just have to be mindful of what's happening around you, and if some riders do go off the front, all of a sudden that can change things as well. So again, you just got to watch what's happening, keep an eye on the scoreboard. So they'll be coming through now. So Wolf Penne from Canterbury's just got good control. Alex Foden coming over the top now. So Wolf just kicked away.
See that power there, just opening up daylight between him and...
So Matthew Davidson in control. So Matthew, on the podium in the scratch race yesterday. So Penne, Wolf, Matt Davidson, and that looks like, is that Frankie Thompson? Just tracking him through.
Yeah, Matt Davidson just happy to kick on here, maybe pick up some early points and then he can just relax through the rest of this heat.
It's the way he's been racing all week. It's really encouraging. So again, you know, you see that what's happening here is the race is splitting, and all of a sudden we have a couple of distinct groups. So we need, you know, 2 riders won't go through.
Seeing that second group just catching up to the front, and the pace comes out of it immediately. Wolf Penne looked like he was in a little bit of difficulty there, but that ease and pace just allowed him to come back onto the wheel of Matthew Davidson.
Well, the effort gone into taking the points, those max points in the first sprint, you know, that you do pay for them at some point. So you just have to be a wee bit careful how hard you hit out in the first sprints.
Alex Foden also in a little bit of difficulty, but he's just coming through to rejoin now as well. Another acceleration with the bell lap, and he's going backwards again, so it'll be interesting. Matthew Davidson leading it out. Wolf Penne on the wheel, and another gap opening up to Nate Boness behind, but he looks comfortable leading that second group through. Going to get overhauled at the line though and pick up no points in that sprint.
Where he is at the moment is fine. He's in 8th spot. If he can just stay there, maintain that position.
Oh, crash. Couple of riders down.
So it looks like we have one of the Auckland riders down. Hard to see. Is that Nate Boness?
Nate Boness down. Matthew Davidson as well.
And the Southland rider is that. Looks like Finn Edwards, I think.
Quite a big accident there, but our medical team is on its way out. Lots of... Both our Southland rider and Canterbury rider are both up and look to be okay. Nate Boness does look to be in a little bit of pain, but he's sitting up now.
So the race is just still progressing. The riders out of the race will have, I think it's 5 laps to get back in once I've repaired any mechanical and dusted themselves off. So the medical team will be there and just making sure that...
You can just see Matthew Davidson is up and okay. He's just coming back onto the track to rejoin now.
So obviously the medical team would just make sure that the rider's safe to come back on the track with some with the concussion protocols and those kind of things. So Wolf Penne taking that one through.
Just an update on Nate Boness. He's up and he has walked back into the infield, so he's okay. Our Southland rider 130 is Finn Edwards. He's just rejoined as well. So just sounds like the cause of that crash was a little touch of wheels between the Canterbury riders. Obviously does happen. Good to see all riders involved are okay though. Just a little update on the points. So we have Matthew Davidson with 8 points leading as centre teammate Wolf Penne in second on 8 points, and then a pairing of Frankie Thompson and Josh Rowe on 2 points, and just getting the results of that third sprint as well. So Wolf Penne taking 5, Josh Rowe 3, Frankie Thompson 2, and Sterling Jarnell on 1. Overall points just on screen now.
So just a reminder, this is a qualifying heat for the under-17 boys points race. 9 riders go through. At the moment we have 9 riders on the track. So you see that crash is taking a couple of riders out.
Current race situation is we have one lone Waikato rider off the front being chased down by Alex Foden, and there's another small group behind him that's just splintering now. Coming through for final lap.
So probably too much drama in that race, or more drama than anyone would want. But we'll have 9 riders go through to the final later on in this session.
Looks like 9 riders remaining on the track. Yeah, at my count, 9 riders remaining on the track, so they'll all go through if that count is indeed correct, but stand by for that. Just on the right-hand side of your camera there, just Wolf Penn and Matthew Davidson, just having a quick chat. Looks like all is well there. Good to see them both up and okay.
So the commissaires will just have a quick check on the track where that crash occurred and just make sure that there's no track damage or no splinters. If there is any damage out there, they'll just tape over that, just clean it up and tape over it, and maybe do a repair later on if need be.
Not sure if you saw that, viewers, just a little thumbs up from Matthew Davidson to his coach, Ferg, so good to see.
So you can see some of the marks on the track where the riders have fallen, so they'll just be looking to see where the extent of that. So they're just working through. They'll be able to see on the track the marks probably made by the pedals or bars as they slid down the track. Some of those marks don't cause too much damage. Sometimes you get just a wee tear in the track and rips up some splinters.
Yeah, so while they're doing this inspection, Hunter, what exactly are they looking for? Just little gouges in the wood, or what's the process to repair anything that they do find?
Normally, they'll, if it's not too bad, they'll just clean it up, maybe sand it, and then put some tape over it. At the moment, it doesn't look like there's anything too significant. So they'll just maybe sand it, put some tape over it. They could come back between sessions and maybe just put a bit of bulg in it, I guess, is the old term saying. And worst case scenarios, they'll come in and cut a section of the board out and replace that, but that's unlikely. They'll do a repair during events. But I think the track looks to be reasonably unscathed. You can't see too many marks from here. A lot of historical marks around that space. That's where the action happens.
Yeah,
a lot of falls coming out of turn 4. So it looks like we're getting ready for the next race. The track is clean. The biggest issue with the track is where there are splinters and the potential for punctures. So just make sure it's clean. You will see the odd scuff marks on the track if you're just watching the video over the next race or so. You'll see some marks that have been repaired, cleaned. So heat 2 coming to the line. We'll introduce those riders when they're up. So under 17 boys, points race heat 2. The same as last time, 5,000 metres, 20 laps. 4 sprints every 5 laps. So So the under-17 boys points race, heat 2. And on the track, we have Lucas Bimey from Auckland, Hunter Dalton, Auckland, Josh Parsons, Canterbury. Looks like we're... So there's Luca Kane Borry from Southland, Magnus Jamison from Canterbury, Wolf Penne, he was in the previous heat, I believe. Kane Foster will come into there in a few moments. There's Luca Moran in the orange helmet there. Kyle Paris and Flynn Underwood and Cooper Johnson from Tasman makes our field. So that group will be receiving their final instructions from the commissaire, the start commissaire. So for those online, 125 Wolf Penne rode the first heat. So he's not in the second heat. So riders away for their neutral lap. They'll get a start in one lap if they come through the start-finish area in a nice compact bunch.
Two pretty well-balanced heats. Some strong riders in Nate and Matthew Davidson and Wolf Penne and those kind of riders in the last heat. In this heat, Magnus, Kane, what else are we looking at? The Auckland riders of Lucas Bimey and Hunter Dalton.
Yeah, it's all you ask for really, isn't it? It's two even heats. Sometimes you look at the heats and you go, crikey, that's a tough one.
Exactly.
But we seem to have two pretty even ones here.
Yeah. No free rides, but also nobody having to work too hard to get through either as well. The right riders going through as they should.
So just a pretty controlled wee start here at the moment, just slowly building the speed up. Josh Parsons just trying to find a space to slot into. So Kane Foster.
See Magnus Jamison just following Kane Foster's wheel through.
Yeah, they'll just be keeping an eye on each other. I mean, it kind of help each other get through this qualifying.
Exactly. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer, as they say.
So Kane's pretty keen to get good points here. Magnus will try to hold him nice and wide, but Kane's coming over him very effectively. See, he's got the ability to just slot down.
Slides down onto the pole line, just takes the 5 points. 3 points there for Magnus. Magnus looking to keep that pace on. Kane swings up. Everyone just holding there.
So Lucas Bimey from Auckland in second place. Now in the lead as they come through, we've just peeled off.
And the pace just coming out of it there again a little bit too.
So again, you see Kane Foster, Magnus Jamison taking the first 2 points there, followed by Hunter Thompson and Kyle Paris from West Coast North Island. So again, you know, getting those points early takes the heat off a little wee bit. If you're relying on getting your points in the last sprint, you're potentially in big trouble. Flynn Underwood Waikato rider at the front, just in front of Kane Foster, just looking for a slot to slide into.
Seeing Cooper Johnson of Tasman is coming around the outside, looking to get himself into a better position.
Well, they're coming through to the bell for the next sprint, so it's pretty important.
Lucas Bimmy just pushing on there. Cooper Johnson slots down onto his wheel. Looks like he could get a little bit buried. He's having to fight the Canterbury rider there, but he's in good position coming into the sprint. Look to see him move up and maybe try and come around him, or seconds. Happy just to settle for the 3 points in second place there.
Lucas Bimey taking that one comfortably. Very fast sprints. Sprint 2, we have Lucas Bimey taking 5 points here, Cooper Johnson 3, Hunter Dalton 2, and Josh Parsons 1. So you see top of the scoreboard there, Lucas Bimey, Kane Foster on 5 points, Hunter Dalton on 4, Magnus Jamison on 3, Cooper Johnson on 3. You'd think that those the first 5 riders would have a good level of confidence.
You're almost guaranteed to go through with that amount of points.
You are,
so
yeah.
Got to be careful, but you'd have to have a really good spread of points
So
amongst the group of riders near the bottom to overhaul you when you already have 5 points.
Just half a lap away from the bell for the second to last sprint. Obviously the last sprint's double points, which has a big impact on these results.
Kane Foster leading this one out, just looking to secure another 5 points. That way he has absolutely nothing to worry about going into the last sprint. Lucas Bimmy following him through. Will he look to follow it, or is he going to overhaul him? Here he comes, coming over the top. First and second for those 2 riders.
So we have Bimmy, Foster and Jamison. So Jamison's just keeping it on. Looks like behind him would be Hunter Dalton. So 4 to go. So 2 riders from here won't go through to the final. So just showing Bimmy, Foster, Jamison and Dalton taking the points.
Coming through with 2 laps to go, just seeing the Canterbury rider, Josh Parsons really kicking on. Parsons, only 1 point so far, so just looking to secure some more points, get himself out of that kind of danger zone down the bottom, especially with double points.
You'd really want. Actually, I really like the idea of sprinting every 5 laps. Reasonably short distance, sprinting every 5. It's really encouraging quite a positive race. You'd imagine this in a final. It'd be a cracker to watch. Canterbury boys hitting home pretty hard in here. Taking first and second, so Josh Parsons and Lucas Sander taking the first 2 places here, so it'll be 10 points and 6 points. So that'll ensure that they are in that space. So that's the heats pre their last sprint. So obviously the winner of that last sprint will take 10 points. I think that was Josh Parsons, and we'll take him up to 11.
Interesting to see the different tactics. A few riders going out hard early just to take the points so they can just settle into the end of that race, whereas Josh Parsons just willing to sit and wait, be patient and save his energy for that last sprint. Went 2 to go and just cleared out and easily took those 10 points there at the end to settle in for his, or get himself through to the next round.
Indeed.
And vice versa, you see the riders that took those early points just able to settle in. Don't have to stress, get involved in a potentially messy final sprint where riders are desperate to get themselves through to the next round.
So we see that Lucas Sander, the Canterbury rider that was was, I think, second place in that sprint. So 6 points. He's not on the leaderboard there in the top 7. So he's potentially moved out of a non-qualifying position into a qualifying position, which is, you know, where you've just got to stay on the game the whole time.
Just looking through to the next round of the under-17 girls sprint the semi-finals. This is the first ride here with the rider from Tasman, Michaela McDonald, in the number 1 spot, and Meg Baker of Canterbury up the top of the track there. Michaela McDonald, really tactical rider.
There are probably 2 riders that'll like to ride quite similarly. They're both quite strong riders at the back end of their sprints. Good top end speed and good ability to sustain that.
You see Meg Baker just quite happy to come through there. Happy to lead the sprint out. We saw Michaela with really good top end at the end of the last sprint, coming around Piper Russell in that last round. So see how this one looks to unfold. Meg looks comfortable to take the front.
Be good for Michaela just to be a little bit more confident, to give a bit more space between the two. Just a little bit more height or a little bit further back. Just something to run at. Just responding quite nicely to that.
Received the bell now. Meg Baker just taking them down the bottom of the track. No one really opening up the sprint yet, just slowly building up into it. Coming into the final 100, nobody out of their saddle yet.
They're both using the, I guess, the G-forces through the centre of the corner well, to both accelerating through there quite nicely.
Meg Baker just real slow burner there, just building up and just quicker, and at the end there Michaela just not quite able to come around. It just shows the power and the leg speed of Meg Baker.
I think the confidence too that, you know, that Michaela likes to ride it the same as you, so she's probably not going to out-jump you. So if you can just build the pace slowly, it makes it more difficult for Michaela to complete a pass.
So there we see confirmation of Meg Baker taking the first round of the semi-final race 1. Just looking now to the riders of our semi-final 2. We have Caitlin Kelly of Southland on screen in the white, yellow and red colours, and just in front of her there, Jodie Blackwood of Auckland just rolling up onto the track now.
This is going to be a tough battle, this one. I think it's very hard to say now who the likely winner is. I think this will be a very, very tight battle.
Yeah, another tight matchup. Obviously, we've got the 2 and 3 seeds in this race, so could look to be another really tactical battle.
Just easing off the start. Jodie takes the front, just having a wee look around to see exactly where Caitlin is.
Just that, maintaining that walking speed.
There again, Caitlin forcing Jodie to get some height and gives her the ability then to control that space underneath. So now Caitlin has a lot of control over the front.
See the riders changing position multiple times here, so both riders happy to take the front. Looks like Jodie's committed though.
I think it just shows that, you just have to be really mindful of the space and the track position you offer the other rider. You want it to be able to stay in control of the position, so you control how the rider in position 2 can attack you, or more importantly, how they can't attack you.
Coming really slowly out of turn 4 now. Just going to see the bell lap now.
So this is going to be a big jump here to get up to speed. So Jodie,
Caitlin's
drop
caught
underneath.
out.
Yeah, just a little bit slow on the response, but she's accelerating onto the wheel quite nicely now. And if she can get a really strong kick through the corner now, she gives herself a good advantage. But Jodie just holding her out by a couple of bike lengths here. So quite a slow run into the beginning of the 200. Which probably benefited or favoured Jodie just a little wee bit there. So you could see that she was able to get the front, which then made it a little bit more difficult for Caitlin to run at the wheel and complete a passing manoeuvre.
Exactly.
So here we go. Jodie Blackwood takes that one out from Caitlin Kelly. First ride, best of 3. So as we were talking about at the beginning of the program, this is a very tight under 17 girls sprint competition. Probably one of the better ones we've had in recent years. It's been very good, and we have had some very good under 17 girls sprinting.
Just in the right of your frame there, just seeing the under 15 girls warming up for their Derby final. That one coming up next, so stay with us.
So event 61, the under 15 girls Derby final. We'll have the B final first. Riders just coming up to the so they'll just line up on the fence to get on their bikes. The position that they'll start from. So they will have drawn their start positions. So the rider here so the riders will then roll up to the start. So going into position 1, we have Kendra Gray from Waikato Bay of Plenty, Pearl Brodie from Waikato Bay of Plenty in 2, Poppy McIver from Southland in 3, Olivia Ewing from Mid-South Canterbury in 4, and Piper Newton from West Coast North Island in position 5. So 3 laps, standing start. So they're off. So Poppy McIver's pushed out really hard there, just trying to get the pace up. Kendra Gray, again on the pole line, just wants to track her through. So Poppy's really keen to take control of this race, opening up a small gap to Kendra. So 2:07 there is Pearl Brodie in third position. So Poppy's still really keen to just maintain that starting position, front position. Coming around, we have Piper Newton from West Coast North Island, 3 high.
Coming through to receive the bell lap now. Piper McIver still leading this one out.
Still in control. Pearl Brodie, the Waikato rider, in second place. Kendra Gray in third. Olivia Ewing from Mid-South Canterbury making a run around the blue line. So it looks like we have Pearl Brodie from Poppy McIver, and I think Olivia Ewing and Kendra Gray fighting out for third place.
Yeah, Poppy McIver just not quite able to hold on there at the end, leading it out right from the get-go.
Yeah, it's a tough gig leading for 3 laps.
Strong performance though, only just overhauled there at the line.
Exactly, and I think too, it you know, what it does do is it dictates what happens behind. So, you know, you're in control of the race, you're in full control of what happens next.
Exactly, nothing to lose here in the B final, so good to see the riders just experimenting a little bit and seeing what works.
So the final results: Pearl Brodie, Waikato Bay of Plenty first, Poppy McIver, Southland second, Olivia Ewing, Mid-South Canterbury third, Kendra Gray, Waikato Bay of Plenty fourth, and Piper Newton from West Coast North Island in fifth place. So now we're just getting ready for the A final.
Just seeing the riders rolling up onto the track now.
So in position 1, we have the Auckland rider, Nina Worrell. In position 2, we have Shayla Sayers from Canterbury. In position 3, Emily Forsyth from Southland. And position 4, Lizzie Thompson from Canterbury.
Big push from all the coaches there.
So Shayla Sayers, number 201, has been the form under 15 girl here this weekend. See if she can maintain her form over this event, or through this event. Coming through with 2 to go. So Emily Forsyth just riding on Shayla's shoulder. Nina Worrell quite happily sitting there with Lizzie Thompson in 4th place.
Good wheel for Nina Worrell to be sitting on, potentially just following up her tactic from the last race.
So Emily Forsyth quite keen to push to the pace, but we see Shayla Thompson leading, Nina Worrell really tightly on her wheel at the moment. This is going to be a really interesting finish. Emily Forsyth just starting to come back at those front 2. So Shayla Sayers looking very comfortable at the moment. Nina Worrell and Emily Forsyth in 3rd place. So another podium visit for Shayla. And some great finishes also from Nina Worrell, Emily Forsyth and Lizzie Thompson in 4th place. So it's great to see the level of tactical racing from these young riders. Some of them, their first national championships.
Yeah, we saw Nina Worrell happy to snap straight onto Shayla Sayers' wheel there and just follow it around. It's good tactical knowledge, knowing where to be. Just looking for a little more leg speed, maybe to come round her next time round. Good to see from all the riders there.
So we now have the final placings. Shayla Sayers, Canterbury, 1st place and gold medal. Nina Worrell, 2nd place and silver medal from Auckland. Emily Forsyth from Southland taking the bronze medal, and Lizzie Thompson 4th place. Great race. So we're just having the under 15 boys derby final. Those riders are being assembled. So the riders just completing the draw at the moment with the race officials, the commissaires. Under 15 boys derby final. So the B final up first. They're just getting their start positions with the riders in the A final just circulating around on the infield. So these riders now starting to come up on track.
West Coast North Island with some strong representation in this B final. Unfortunately, a few of their riders missing out on that A final. They'll be looking to really prove a point here in the B final.
It shows just how hard it is to make a final at national championships. So position 1 is Joshua Hannon, 191, from West Coast North Island. Next to him, the Waikato rider, Nicholas Smith. The Southland rider, Lachlan Kelly. Zach Willett from West Coast North Island. Ben Murphy from West Coast North Island. And the last rider up on the top of the track, James Arroyo from Canterbury. Final instructions from race starter.
That Ben Murphy of West Coast North Island willing to kick on again early.
So Ben Murphy in second place behind the Southland rider, Lachlan Kelly. So Lachlan's looking to...
Zach Waller coming from high on the track. He's going to look to come down around the Southland rider. Southland rider accelerating. Zach almost clearing the wheel. Able to come down into sprinter's lane. He'll lead with a little bit of daylight into this final lap.
So Lachlan just trying to close the gap. You see with these smaller gears, the riders are really struggling to stay on top of them, bouncing around a little wee bit. And it looks like Ben Murphy's pulled his foot. Just trying to get his foot back in. So here we have, so 190.
Zach Wallet, I believe.
From Lachlan Murphy.
Zach Wallet with that really good run off the embankment with a lap and a half to go, coming around Southland rider and just maintaining that gap through to the finish. Strong ride from him there in the B final. Unfortunate for Ben Murphy. Hasn't had the best of luck in these derby races. Plenty more to come for a rider of his strength though.
It all happens very quickly out there. And, you know, the smallest of errors or somebody doing something exceptionally well can change the shape of the race. So things happen very, very fast.
Exactly. Just a small correction from earlier, so they're actually top 3 from each heat going through. So just looking at our riders coming out for the A final of this derby race now.
So the riders will roll up to the start. Just there they go. So Auckland rider David Kwan. It's like he's drawn 1. 2 is Hunter Ballard from Auckland. 3 is Connor Toomey from Mid-South Canterbury. 4 is Jesse Johnston from Mid-South Canterbury. Carter Payne from Waikato Bay of Plenty. And Jamie Henderson from Waikato Bay of Plenty. So I think I'm predicting a very close battle here, a very tight finish. A couple of hefty shunts there from some experienced coaches. Connor Toomey just kicking through at the moment. David Kwan following him through. So a few riders at the back expecting a slower start, now having to close some gaps. So Connor Toomey, David Kwan, looks like Carter Payne just trying to come around Hunter Ballard there to come back into the race.
David Kwan really sitting pretty coming into this bell lap.
And also Jesse Johnston. Here goes David Kwan, rode a very, very good 500-metre time trial the other day. Struggling to come around, going a bit high on the track, so David out of the seat. Followed by Carter Payne and Jesse Johnston. Looks like David Kwan reasonably comfortable at the moment. Yep, good couple of lengths. Carter Payne and Jesse Johnston.
Strong tactical ride there from David Kwan. Just following Connor Toomey around and then coming around him when it mattered. Carter Payne really just paying for having to close that gap down, and Jesse of Mid-South Canterbury just capitalising on following that wheel and coming around his own teammate for third place.
I think you see, I guess the benefit of taking people by surprise a little bit. You saw three riders at the back that looked like they expected the pace to be a little slower off the start, and all of a sudden they found there was a 20-metre gap they had to close. So you just have to be prepared for and expect anything and everything, and hope it kind of doesn't turn out that way. But in the end, it all plays out okay. But you just have to, it just shows how much you have to watch.
Yeah, being attentive at all times can be easy to just assume that you're going to roll away slowly from a start and get caught out, like we just saw. So just looking now at the second round of the under-17 girls sprint competition. Meg Baker going one up over Michaela McDonald of Tasman in the first round. Could be looking for another good close race here. Michaela needing to take this one to force this to go to 3 rides. Meg looking to shut this down to progress to the finals in the next round. We saw these two riders swap positions back and forth a few times in the last round. We'll see Meg Baker just looking happy to roll around on the front for now. Small check over her right shoulder, just seeing where she is. Michaela just sitting tight on that wheel. Meg just giving her wheel a little flick there.
It's good just to have a little wee bit more space between you and the rider in front.
Exactly, just giving you some room to really accelerate into.
And also you're not waiting for something to happen in front of you. You're able to control. So Michaela's really dropped down, opened up a good pace here.
Meg Baker comfortable on that wheel. Draws.
She has, but Michaela's a hard wheel to come over.
Exactly, holding nicely down on the black. She's going to make Meg Baker work for it here. Coming down the back straight, it's going to be a lunge. Looks Meg Baker on the line, going through to the final in 2 rides. Michaela, though, making her work really hard for it. Really good racing, seeing her dive underneath Meg when she wasn't looking.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Caught her out a little bit and made her really work hard for it. So good signs for the future there.
Yeah, Michaela's a very hard wheel to come past. She's very strong in the last, the final 100.
All is not lost as well, obviously. Michaela still going through to the bronze final, the bronze medal ride-off. So there she'll be facing somebody that she's probably pretty evenly matched against. We'll see who that's going to be after this rider here, potentially. Just looking at Caitlin Kelly of Southland and Jodie Blackwood. Obviously Jodie taking that first ride in convincing fashion. Caitlin Kelly looking to even it up here to push it to a 3rd ride.
would have had a chat to her coach, see what they could have changed in between rounds, see what the tactics are going to be going into this race.
Well, obviously, Caitlin is probably going to need to take a little bit more control coming into the bell. And obviously, she needs to win to go through, you know, to go into a third ride and potentially the final. So they both have the potential to make the final. This series isn't done yet. But obviously Jodie has the upper hand. So it's a nice gap that Jodie's holding to the front. It enables her to ride, you know, nicely in that space. She doesn't have to wait for what happens in front of her. She's able to dictate. So now just pushing up into that space. She's just trying to get Caitlin to accelerate, to pick up the pace. Caitlin's happy with where she is and what she's doing at the moment, so she's not getting forced to do something she doesn't want to do now.
Both riders staying high now. Jodie just happy following that wheel around.
Caitlin just needs to be really cautious that she doesn't get out jumped, so just keeping nice control so she knows exactly where Jodie is at the moment. Nice jump. It's a nice wee space. So Jodie's just running at that now. She'll drive hard through turns 3 and 4. Just see if she's got the legs to come over in the finishing straight. Ooh, that was tight. From this angle, it looked like Jodie may have just rolled across, but we'll wait for the judges on that one. That's looks like Caitlin congratulating Jodie, so maybe Jodie did get over, but we'll wait and see what the judges come with.
Jodie just settling onto the wheel on the back straight with half a lap to go. And then Caitlin really forcing her to, well, really making it hard for her to come around there through the final bend. Jodie just able to accelerate over her in the last 5-10 metres there, just a pipper at the line.
A lot of that was timing of the acceleration through the corner. Again, you know, you get two riders very close, so we see Jodie Blackwood taking that out from Caitlin, so Jodie goes through to the gold medal ride later on, and Caitlin will ride Michaela McDonald for the bronze. So yeah, you do expect, you know, these to be close battles with the times that their qualifying times were close. So what we've seen the first few days has been some really competitive racing with deep fields, you know, really close battles right through the field, and we're seeing exactly the same here today. It's been superb. They've had 2 tough sessions. This is no easier. So it's been a fairly brutal week for these youngsters. So the riders in the under-17 girls points race final, 7,500 metres of racing. The riders coming to the track now. How did the sprints roll in this one, Cullen?
So looking at 30 laps total with sprints on lap 21, lap 14, lap 7 and double points on lap 0.
So the riders just coming up to the fence.
So going to be interesting to see the tactics in this one.
It's going to be even more interesting when some of the riders in here are also riding the sprint events. So we have, so on the fence, so Meg Baker, position 1 on the track. Kirsty Watts, Canterbury. Lucy Griffin, Southland. Kaylin Gray, Waikato Bay of Plenty. Michaela McDonald from Tasman. Millie Donald from Wellington. Hannah Payne from Waikato Bay of Plenty. Kenzie Compton from West Coast North Island. Millie Wright from Waikato Bay of Plenty. Geraldine Leaf from Northland. Caitlin Kelly from Southland. Sienna Lushcott from Auckland. Sadie Scott from Southland. Christina Scott from Waikato Bay of Plenty. Michaela Perry from Wellington. Elena Worrell from Auckland, and Erin Green from Tasman. And you'll have heard a number of those names through the sprint competition. So they've just finished riding a semi-final in the sprint, and very soon they'll be, after the back of this, they'll be riding a final series. So big day.
Just seeing the way the girls away now on their neutral lap. They'll come around this lap to receive the gun, and they will have 30 laps to go. Looks like Kirsty Watts just leading them through for the gun, and they're away.
So those riders riding this sprint competition off the back of this sure as heck won't want too tough a ride out here.
Yeah, looks like the girls just really easing into this one.
So Millie Donald and Kenzie Compton on the front at the moment.
9 laps before the first sprint, so no real rush. Nobody wanting to send it out there too early, especially double points on the final lap as well. So it is a bit of a tail end heavy weighted race.
Looks like Erin Green from Tasman, just second in the line on the blue, so reasonably short terms at the moment.
Looks like she's on Meg Baker's wheel as well. Familiar wheel, I imagine, after the last few races. Kaylin Gray just coming through onto the front now, happy to just roll up. Kirsty Watts of Canterbury is coming through.
So Wellington's Michaela Perry. Is that Meg Baker on the front at the moment?
Yep. Looks to be Meg Baker having just rolled off 169. Who's Millie Wright? She's just rolled off for Waikato, followed by the Southland rider. Geraldine of Northland just rolling off the front now.
So just starting to build pace a little bit here. Just easing off the front.
One 6.8. Christina Scott, just a little bit of daylight. She's just going to pull up as well. Not interested in going this early on. Looking to main good position though with 3.5 laps until our first sprint.
2 Wellington riders, Donald and
You can see Kirsty Watts and
Perry just riding together at the moment, just sliding through on the pole line.
Meg Baker just accelerating around the outside now, looking to move herself forward.
Followed by Michaela McDonald having another sprint with her.
Carolyn Gray just muscling her off the wheel. She's going to follow Meg Baker through for the sprint. Geraldine putting up a good fight though. Carolyn Gray following Meg Baker through down onto the pole line now. Carolyn Gray looking like she's just going to be settled there for second. Meg Baker with maximum points on the first sprint and big lunge for fourth there. 3 riders all fighting for a single point. Carolyn Gray's keeping that pace on a little bit, but now it's just swinging up. Pace comes out of it a little bit. Geraldine staying down on the black line.
It's a good opportunity to keep the pace on, especially if you haven't quite gone 100 through the sprint. You can just continue the pace and just forces pressure into the line.
Yeah, we saw
Especially those riders that have sprinted full gas through the sprint, that gasping for breath, and the next thing the wheel in front of you is starting to move away.
We saw George Jackson with that exact tactic last night after one of the sprints. Kept the gas on and immediately just broke the string and managed to get away with 4 riders. And immediately, once you have a gap of 50, 60 metres, it can be hard to convince the riders around you to work. And that's exactly what we saw last night. So I wonder if any of these girls watched that race.
So you see the first sprint. Meg Baker, Kaylin Gray, Hannah Payne, and Millie Wright. So 5, 3, 2, and 1 the points there.
Just seeing them go 5 wide down the front straight now.
So Michaela Perry's just pulled off the front. Auckland rider, I think that's Sienna Lushcott, just coming off the front.
One's exact Christina Scott, just looking to maintain her presence at the front there. One of her Waikato teammates coming around the outside, just looking to move forward with Kaylin Gray. 4, 5 wide now.
Just starting to accelerate a little bit more. Must be getting excited with a
Going 2
bell
laps.
coming up soon.
2 laps until the next sprint. Expect to hear the bell next lap through. Watch Kaylin Gray just sitting on the front there. Wellington rider accelerating around the outside.
Millie Donald, I think, or is that Michaela Perry?
Kaylin Gray being led out now by her Waikato teammate.
So Hannah Payne just dropping down on the front now. Kaylin Gray.
Accelerating onto her wheel, looking to come around the outside now through turn 4. Going to be a little fight here. Lunge at the line. Ooh, that's close. Kaylin Gray maybe just at the line waiting for confirmation.
Alina Worrell there, I think, in 3rd place.
And another Waikato rider there rounding out the top 4.
So Kaylin just keeping the pressure on there. You can see the gaps opening up a little wee bit. So Alina Worrell just easing off the front, gaps just going away by meters every now and then. So gaps
Brilliant.
getting longer. Who wants to chase? So good opportunity not long after a sprint when legs are feeling a little heavy.
Just seeing confirmed points now from that second sprint. So we've got Hannah Payne with 5 points, Kaylin Gray 3 points, Alina Worrell 2 points, and Millie Wright rounding them out with 1 point.
And now
Alina Worrell just really kicking on now. Looks like her Auckland centre teammate chasing her though. Bunch really just lined out into one long line now. Pace is really being driven on. Sienna Lushcott chasing her.
I think now just realising the best thing to do is just to take the heat off the pace, force the others to do the chasing.
Kirsty Watts of Canterbury taking it up, Kaylin Gray on her wheel. Seeing Millie Wright following that with Meg Baker on her wheel. Meg Baker sitting pretty coming into this next sprint in a couple of laps' time.
So the riders to really watch in the next two sprints, Hannah Payne, Kaylin Gray and Meg Baker. So this is the penultimate sprint.
Kayla McDonald of Tasman just maybe a little bit too far back, probably won't be able to contest this one. Meg Baker coming around the outside, Kaylin Gray holding the sprinter's lane. Meg Baker looking to accelerate out of the bend. Tasman rider coming through, 163.
It's Erin Green.
Erin Green. Tight sprint there for those points.
See the pressure that Alina has put on during that attack is she's just now getting back into the bunch after that pressure from that sprint.
So just seeing confirmation of that third sprint there. So Meg Baker with 5 points, Erin Green 3 points, Kaylin Gray with 2 points. Just looking at the overall here, so quite close at the top end. Meg Baker 10 points, Kaylin Gray 8 points, Hannah Payne 7, Millie Wright and Erin Green with 3, 2 for Alina Worrell, rounding out all the points there. So double points on this final lap.
Everything to race for. Oh, there we go.
And we're crashing.
Just a wee slide. They'll just make sure that the track's clear. So some riders trying to quickly get up.
Mechanics all out helping. Riders looking okay.
So with 4 laps to go, the riders are unable to get back in, but the riders do keep their points and they will be classified at the end.
So unfortunately, Meg Baker caught up in that crash. We've got So we've just seen a couple of riders being pushed back in. Unfortunately, those riders are unable to continue, so you will see the yellow flag, red flag come out here for those 2 riders. They must pull off the track. So we see Kirsty Watts now. A couple of the Waikato riders. Fortunately, a bit of miscommunication here from the mechanics. Okay, so coming into 1 lap to go. Seeing the Southland.
So last lap.
Seeing the Southland rider, Caitlin Kelly, really leading that out hard, followed by Erin Green of Tasman, Kaylin Gray in 3rd. Everything to play for here with double points. Kaylin Gray, looks like Caitlin Kelly first, Erin Green 2nd in that sprint, and Kaylin Gray just 3rd maybe. We'll wait for confirmation of points. Going to be interesting to see how this one unfolds with those riders again that crashed, unfortunately unable to continue, but they will retain their points. So as we stand currently, Meg Baker on 10, Kaylin Gray on 8, Hannah Payne on 7, Millie Wright 3, Erin Green 3, Alina Worrell on 2. So that is before the double points final sprint. So let's see how that unfolds.
Always full of drama, these events.
Yeah, unfortunate to see a crash happen that late on in the race with such dire consequences, but that shows the importance of positioning there. A few riders that could have potentially been close to the front caught out towards the back end of the field with just a few laps remaining there.
So all those riders are back up on their feet or in their bikes, so it looks like everyone's okay. So it looks like just a bit of a sliding crash, so nothing too, almost a slow motion crash. But nevertheless, it's never good to touch down on the boards.
So sounds like we're just going to get a replay here of that crash with 4 laps remaining in the under-17 girls points race. So keep an eye kind of mid-pack there around those Canterbury riders. That's Meg Baker. Looks like the riders fell down on top of her, taking out Michaela of Tasman as well. So positioning actually not too bad. Just unfortunate there, maybe a touch of wheels. Hano, what do you think?
It just looked like the rider at the top slid down into the Canterbury riders, taking them out. They're not sure who that rider was.
Unfortunate stuff. Unfortunately, not much Meg Baker could have done about that. We'll see how her points stand up here.
I guess the fortunate thing for the fall was that it was just a low side slide rather than a big impactful fall.
Exactly, no riders going up and over. So hopefully no issues for any of them there. They are all up and okay back into the infield now.
So it'll take a little wee bit longer today for the commissaires just to confirm those points, make sure who actually was caught up in that crash. Let's go to the final sprint. Caitlin Kelly, 10 points. Erin Green, 6 points. Kaylin Gray, 4 points. And Hannah Payne, 2. So in a few moments, we will get the final sprint list come up. Just confirm too that those riders that were held up in the crash and were unable to finish the race will be classified, and they retain their points at that time due to the timing of the race. So within the last, I think it's 5 or 6 laps. So they had 4 laps to go.
So unfortunately, 3 hectic days of racing does mean towards the end of these longer races, you can get a little bit of brain fade. And I think that might have been just what we saw there. Slight touch of wheel, just maybe going a little bit slow on the embankment. Just waiting now for the confirmation of those final results.
So again, we're just doing some checks of the track just to make sure there's no damage to the boards. And so just thinking about that event with 4 laps to go, so those riders are unable to continue in the race. If that crash or an event had have occurred earlier, the riders would have had 5 laps to repair their bikes, dust themselves off, and get back into the race without losing any time or any places in the race. So just having a quick look, a bit of a light sanding by the look of things.
There's the commissaires are sanding the track over there if you wanted to swing a camera around to that. So what you're seeing on your screen there is just the commissaires doing a little bit of track maintenance. Got the sandpaper out by the looks of it, just smoothing things out.
Just cleaning off the dust off the track from that sanding. Just dust becomes very slippery. So under 17 girls sprint, semi-finals 3rd ride. So we'll have awards presentations coming up soon. So a little later in the program, not too far away, we'll have under 17 boys points race final as well. So still plenty to look out for. So a quick turnaround for a couple of these young women to come into the sprint finals soon after this awards ceremony or at the conclusion of this event or when we've had the final results.
Yeah, Meg Baker going to be a little bit banged up after that crash, coming into her final sprint for the gold medal.
Yeah, definitely busy days for these young riders and getting their value for money this week, that's for sure.
Absolutely, and stiff competition as well, so every race is hard fought. It's going to take its toll over 4 or 5 days of racing.
Yep, they won't be getting into too much trouble after the sessions, that's for sure.
Make the coach's job easy.
So you'll see the riders down there, especially those riders that are going to have to back up really quickly, will be down, just quickly warming down. Bit of hydration, just a little bit of the right nutrition. Not too much to eat during this, but definitely some hydration. Warm down, switch from a points race to a sprint.
Yeah, the rollers will be getting a serious workout this week, I think. Lots of warming up and warming down in between events, multiple events every session as well.
Yeah, and having, especially where you're riding a lot of events in one session, being able to manage your warm downs and warm ups well is really important, because if you do too much warm up and warm down, you spend a lot of time on your bike, and that can be counterproductive as well. So keeping warm up and warm downs to the bare minimum is the best.
Exactly, just being as efficient as possible, because all of that load is going to add up over the 5 days.
Yeah, it does. So we're just preparing ourselves for these medal presentations. So I'll have those presentations for the derbies and for the under 17 girls points race. Looks like there's a little bit more damage on the track for this fall than there was in the earlier fall. So just looking a little wee bit further ahead, the second session today starting at 3 p.m. Group 2 riders, which is our woman, under 19 elite and para woman. So they'll have individual pursuit qualifying today, and for the para woman we'll have 500 metre time trial finals.
Yeah, bit of a shorter day today after the marathon that was yesterday. Just for our second and third sessions, just individual pursuits really. And of course the shorter time trials for the women's para and men's para, with the 500 metre time trial final of the women's para and the 1,000 metre time trial final for our men's para later on this evening.
So plenty to look out for during the day, the rest of the day.
Going to be some big rides across those women's and men's individual pursuits though. Could look for some really, really close racing, so that'll be interesting to see.
Here we have the scoreboard update. Get that on screen in just a few moments. It's up there now. So we'll just have the results coming up on screen. So just the first three places: Kaylin Gray, 12 points, Caitlin Kelly, 10, Meg Baker, 10. The results from 4th to 18th will be confirmed later, so they may not be correct as per the screen, but the first three placings have been confirmed. So taking that out, Kaylin Gray on 12 points takes the gold medal. Caitlin Kelly from Southland on 10 points takes the silver, and Meg Baker from Canterbury takes the bronze with 10 points.
So what differentiates these second and third placings, Hano? Is that just the position in the final sprint?
That's right, the position in the final sprint, yeah.
So
that's why the sprint for final is really important. You know, to try to get the best position you can, because if you're all on 0 points, and you finish ahead of the riders behind you, then obviously you finish ahead of those riders. So everyone is classified as per the result of that final sprint as well.
So Erin Green really capitalising on those double points there at the end, coming from 0 points essentially all the way up into second place.
Yeah, the last, the end of the race is really important. So we'll just prepare ourselves for the medal ceremonies.
I'm on mic 1 as well. Over. Mic 1, mic. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, the award ceremony for the 2022 Track National Championships Under 15 Girls Derby will now take place. The medals will be presented by Dr. Monica Robbers, Cycling New Zealand CEO. In third place, and the winner of the bronze medal, representing Southland, Emily Forsyth. In second place, and the winner of the silver medal, representing Auckland, Nina Worrell. And in first place, and the winner of the gold medal, in your 2022 Under 15 Girls Derby National Champion, representing Canterbury, Shayla Sayers. And Shayla will also receive the Barbara Levido Howe Trophy. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us and show your appreciation for the place getters in the 2022 Under 15 Girls Derby. Ladies and gentlemen, the award ceremony for the 2022 Track National Championship Under 15 Boys Derby will now take place. Dr. Monica Roberts, Cycling New Zealand CEO, will once again present the medals. In third place, and the winner of the bronze medal, representing Mid-South Canterbury, Jessie Johnston. In second place, and the winner of the silver medal, representing Waikato Bay of Plenty, Carter Payne. And in first place, and the winner of the gold medal, and your 2022 Under-15 Boys Derby National Champion, representing Auckland, David Kwan. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us and show your appreciation for the place getters in the 2022 Under-15 Boys Derby Championships. Ladies and gentlemen, the award ceremony for the 2022 Track National Championship Under-17 Girls Points Race will now take place. The medals will be presented by Dr. Monica Roberts, Cycling New Zealand CEO. In third place, and the winner of the bronze medal, representing Canterbury, Meg Baker. In second place, and the winner of the silver medal, representing Southland, Caitlin Kelly. And in first place, and the winner of the gold medal, and your 2022 Under-17 Girls Points Race National Champion, representing Waikato, Kaylin Gray. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us and show your appreciation for the place getters in the Under-17 Girls Points Race National Championship.
So a very quick turnaround here. First ride of the Under-17 Girls Sprint Final. So we've seen a couple of these riders in the points race. It's not long been finished. So busy days for these young riders. But I'm sure that there's no place they'd rather be than here today. So the officials just preparing themselves for the sprint competition. So just to remind us, this is a sprint final, best of three, first ride coming up.
Sounds like we're going to have the bronze medal ride off first, which will be Caitlin Kelly of Southland going head-to-head against Michaela McDonald of Tasman.
So the riders just readying themselves in the infield. They'll draw for start position in the first heat, the first round. riders just drawing at the moment. So the rider that draws position 1 in the first ride, they will swap, and that rider will ride position 2 in the next ride. If there is a third ride, then they'll redraw for that. So Michaela McDonald just coming up, and just coming into a shot there is Caitlin Kelly.
So just briefly reflecting on our qualifying for this, Caitlin Kelly, second fastest qualifier, going head to head against Michaela McDonald, who is our 5th fastest qualifier. Seen Michaela McDonald really making Meg Baker work hard to progress to that gold final, so she's definitely one to watch. Definitely don't underestimate her.
It's been a tough series to make the finals of, so.
Absolutely, this bronze final not going to be much easier than the gold final, that's for sure. These riders could easily go to 3 rides. So the rider's just progressing, just faster than walking pace around the blue now at the moment. Michaela just following Caitlin up to the barriers here. Like Caitlin just testing out Michaela, just seeing if she's willing to come through, which she's not. She's happy to sit. We've seen both very good technical, both riders very good technically, so.
There's a couple of reasons that Caitlin could be looking to do that. One is to force Michaela to the front, because she prefers to ride from 2. Well, secondly, that she's looking for Michaela to make a mistake, and even maybe you know, a simple fall or a slide, because she's not comfortable doing the standstill. So again, it just puts her off a little wee bit.
Exactly.
So here we go again, just putting her under pressure, taking it maybe to a place where she thinks she mightn't be comfortable. But Michaela's more than comfortable in these scenarios. Just slowly building speed now. Michaela just looking down at Caitlin. Caitlin looking back to see, just to be really clear where she is and what she's doing.
Riders looking to stay higher on the embankment this time around. Caitlin just dropping down slightly. Michaela staying tight on her wheel, not giving herself much of a wheel to run at there.
Just coming at the bell, just dropping down. Caitlin just got her where she needs it, jumps down, but Michaela's quite comfortable in that space at the moment. Michaela's got a nice wheel to run at. You can just see her slowly just starting to run at her. It's going to hit her in about exactly the right place in the centre of the corner.
Coming around the outside
So
out of
just
turn
coming
4.
around the outside. It's a very strong ride.
Too close to call there. We're going to have to wait for the officials.
Oh, go on, Cullen, make a call.
I like Michaela for that. The riders just congratulating each other there. That's my pick, but known to be wrong, so we'll see.
It looked from this angle that Michaela might have got across, but very tight finish. But you can see there that, you know, running at the wheel, Michaela did really well and positioned herself for a pass perfectly.
Coming through for a replay of that sprint now. So we just see Michaela accelerating out of the wheel, and big lunge at the line from both riders. Upon review, that actually looks like Caitlin may have held on there. Just a last second acceleration just to hold on, and a big lunge as well.
I think that's why we're sitting up here, Cullen, and not down in the judges' enclosure there. So
I'm not sure I'm any more qualified to be sitting in this booth, but I'm happy that I'm here nonetheless. Commissaires probably wouldn't be too happy if they saw me down in their booth.
So Meg Baker in position 1, Jodie Blackwood. Sure she'd like to be an actress. So Jodie in position 2. So Meg competed in the last points race and was one of the riders that fell with 4 to go. Jodie is more of a sprinter and chose to just participate in the sprint events here. So be interested to see how Meg's backed up from that.
Some of these sprinters with notoriously good poker faces, so acting not out of the question.
It's true. So 2 very different sprinters. Meg likes sort of hard, fast, longer sprints. Jodie's more of a traditional sprinter, possibly slightly better initial jump, acceleration. So 2 very, very different sprinters. So who's going to play the strongest cards?
Meg looking just to keep the speed on a little bit here. Doesn't want to have to kick from too low a speed. Coming round for the bell lap this time. It's coming through turn 3 and turn 4.
So Jodie just getting a little bit of height on the track, so she can drop down.
Both riders kicking on now. Come through, get the bell. Looks like Jodie just coming around the outside. Meg Baker's really going to have to fight here. Jodie drops down to the black. Meg Baker just getting distanced. Coming through 3, 4. Jodie kicking on. Jodie with daylight back to Meg Baker, takes the first ride.
Very good sprint from Jodie. But, you know, let's at the same time commend Meg for the sheer amount of riding she's done today and quality riding too. So a big day for Meg. And to make the final here, she's going to have to be on her A game. Jodie's racing well today.
Exactly. We'll go back to the drawing board with her coach and just see what they can potentially do differently in the next round.
You do like to see, especially in this age group, riders riding everything. There's much more to be gained from the experience. So we have the riders coming around for the under 17 boys points race final over 10 kilometres.
So just getting confirmation now that in that bronze medal ride off in the first ride, Caitlin Kelly just edging out Michaela McDonald there. Now,
So just getting ready to run through the field here. Josh Parsons from Canterbury, Josh Rowe from Waikato Bay of Plenty, Lucas Bimey from Auckland, Wolf Penne from Canterbury, Kane Foster from Waikato Bay of Plenty, Matthew Davidson from Canterbury, Lucas Sanders from Canterbury, Alex Foden from Wellington, Hunter Dalton from Auckland, Sterling Jarnell from Waikato Bay of Plenty, Magnus Jamison from Southland, Frankie Thompson from Southland, Flynn Underwood from Waikato Bay of Plenty, Finn Edwards from Southland, Kyle Paris from Waikato Bay of Plenty, Leighton Riley from West Coast North Island, Cooper Johnson from Tasman, and Jack Eva from Waikato Bay of Plenty. That's your field for this under 17 boys points race final. 10,000 metres, 40 laps. So there'll be a sprint every 10 laps. So 4 sprints. And as usual, doubles points for the last one. Magnus Jamison just dragging the field up to race pace. If we get half the entertainment we had out of the scratch race yesterday, this will be a cracker.
So Wolf Penner just rolling up off the front now. West Coast North Island riders following them through. Alex Fodden of Wellington coming up now.
That's Lucas Bymey on the front, followed by Kane Foster from Waikato Bay Plenty as they slide back midfield.
Cooper Johnston just rolling off the front as well. See 4 Canterbury riders just maintaining that position near the front there. Matthew Davidson just pushing the pace on a little bit, testing a few people out. Wolf Penner just rolling through comfortably, he'll swing off. Four Waikato Bay Plenty riders at the front now, just lining it out. Kane Foster hits the front, accelerates. Small gap in the centre of the field there. Magnus Jamison though, he will close that up. He's not having any of that this early on in the race.
So the Auckland is just pushing their way forward. Hunter Dalton.
Magnus Jamison looking to catch a few people out there, accelerating away, bunch stretching.
See the riders that were near the front and a little higher on the track are now being forced back. So it's Frankie Thompson forcing the pace through at the moment. Alex Foden, second place. So there's a lot of pace being put on here. I think that Magnus Jamison really wants a hard, fast race today.
Watching Kane Foster accelerating through into that top 5 riders following Magnus Jamison's wheel. Coming into 3 laps until the first sprint.
So Southland really keen to stretch it out and see that we already have 3 riders, you know, just being gapped at the back.
See
the Waikato rider just making the back of the group at the moment.
Magnus Jamison, Kane Foster, Lucas Bimmy all maintaining a position near the front there. Matthew Davidson also bringing Wolf Penner through now as well. 2 laps till the first sprint.
So they'll come through this time and get the bell.
Comes the bell. Kane Foster leading it out.
So Kane looking up and seeing Wolf Penny high, so he just wants to accelerate, make it harder for Wolf to get through to the front. Lucas Bymey in 3rd place at the moment. Hunter Dalton in 4th place.
Wolf Penny from Kane Foster back to Lucas Bymey.
And Hunter Dalton in 4th. So they're maintaining the pace at the moment, just keeping it on. So Bymey's really keen.
Magnus
Hunter
Jamison
Dalton as well.
and Matthew Davidson being caught out here. Matthew Davidson just back behind the other Canterbury rider who's holding on to Magnus as well. They've made the bridge. Now look for the other 7 or 8 riders back behind them to come forward. And we are coming all back together now. Matthew Davidson still looking strong.
See by the looks on the faces of the riders towards the back that it's not been a fun couple of laps.
Exactly, we saw Cooper of Tasman, Cooper Johnson that is, really working hard for that first sprint and almost paying the price there. Alex Fodden as well with a couple of early moves. He also got caught towards the back there. Just seeing a rider being lapped out there from West Coast North Island. Hunter Dalton there just rolling off the front.
Josh Parsons from Canterbury just moving his way back through the field. Be trying to find somewhere a little closer to the front to slot into.
Wolf Penner comes through the front, just maintaining that speed. He's happy to roll half a lap.
So 4.5 laps to the next sprint.
Lucas Pimmy just rolls up following the wheel in front of him. He's not interested in pulling. Hunter Dalton.
He'll be very interested in the next points though, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Here comes 126, Lucas Sanders driving the pace on now a little bit. Lucas Bimey chasing him.
Hunter Dalton as well. The Aucklanders have been really attentive in this race.
Alex Foden back near the front as well.
I think Alex, if you look over the last couple of days, this is probably Alex's best race so far. Racing very well. Good position. Thinking about where he needs to be in the bunch.
Kane Foster second wheel, followed by Magnus Jameson third wheel. Hunter Dalton fourth wheel, coming in to hear the bell this lap, I believe.
2 to go.
Sorry.
So next time through is the bell. So that the strong riders are coming through and really wanting to keep the pace on.
Wolf Pena and Lucas.
So 3 Canterbury riders through at the front. Looks like an attack coming in. Is that Josh Parsons?
Yep, Josh Parsons pushing real hard here to the bell. He's extended a nice gap. Lucas Bimey chasing hard. Lucas Bimey looking to shut this down. Coming hard onto the wheel, onto the back straight. Is he going to go straight round? Straight round. 100 metres to the points now. Coming out of turn 4, side by side. Lucas Bimey coming over the top. Josh Parsons second, seals for second. Kane Foster third. Magnus Jameson just lunging for fourth there by the looks of it. Magnus Jameson again just paces on. Lucas Bimey comes down onto his wheel. And then they swing up. Nobody's interested.
So Jack Eva from Waikato Bay Plenty just ahead of the bunch at the moment.
Big acceleration from Matthew Davidson here. Wolf Pene just setting a tempo on the front. Nobody willing to come around him. He swings up and most of the group follows him here. Alex Foden staying low, but not necessarily accelerating. Just happy to stay near the front. Jameson's going to come over the top of him. Lucas Sanders on his wheel.
Magnus Jameson is really keen. He doesn't want this gap to go.
17 and a half laps remaining now.
There's nothing worse than being in the bunch and then looking up and seeing a gap like we see here at the moment to a rider in front and missed having seen it roll off. This is not going to come back without a concerted chase from the bunch. And be interested to see how well they can get their heads together and put the chase together.
Looks like Lucas Sanders of Canterbury there just coming through, disrupting the pace, but not doing anything illegal, just coming through and then pulling up with the rider in front of him. Good team tactics. Matthew Davidson will thank him for that, helping him extend that gap out a little bit. It's good team tactics there from Canterbury. Hunter Dalton rolls off.
So at the moment, Matthew Davidson on 0 points. So everything he can get now is really important. 14 laps, can he hang out 14 laps? Can he lap the field and get 20 points? But if he takes the next sprint, he will have 5 points. And the next sprint after, he'll have 10, which will be a total of 15. If he laps the field, he'll get 20 additional laps. So he'll end up on 35 lap points.
Frankie Thompson of Southland really taking up the mantle here. He rolls off, Kane Foster picks it up. Angus Jameson sitting third wheel. 141 of Waikato pulling through hard as well. That's Kyle Paris. He swings up, Jameson hits the front.
Frankie's been a great teammate for Magnus in this race, and he gives him a wee pat on the back at the end of it because he's done a few really big turns for him.
Hunter Dalton hits the front, but he doesn't look too interested in pulling. That gap has come down slightly, but still looking at maybe a third of a lap, maybe slightly more.
Well, he's definitely going to get these points.
Josh Parson now attacks. Takes a Waikato rider with him. Wolf. No, sorry, that looks like Lucas Sanders of Canterbury as well. So 3 Canterbury riders now separated off the front with 1 Waikato rider, all in separate groups, with Lucas Sanders coming onto the back of those 2 riders now. So we have Matthew Davidson, Claire, followed by Josh Parson, Lucas Sanders, and 1 Waikato rider coming in for the points. Looks like 3 Canterbury riders in the top 3 for those points, followed by 1, 4, 2 of Josh Rowe of Waikato Bay Plenty, also taking 4th in that one. Josh Rowe looking to kick on. He's going after Matthew Davidson.
You can almost imagine the Canterbury coaches coming up with this plan last night.
It's looking good. Lucas Bimey having to do lion's share of the work here. He's going to swing up. He's got help from Magnus Jameson. Cameron Foster also not keen to let that one go. He's got help from a Waikato teammate behind him as well. Wolf Penny happy to sit on the back of this group. This is perfect for him.
Well, Kane, Magnus and Lucas have the most to lose here, I guess. Really important that they are able to bring him back and can play out for the double points at the end.
Just confirmation of that last sprint. We've got Matt Davidson, Josh Parsons, Josh Rowe, and... Sorry, a little error on the timing board there with Josh Rowe twice. We'll stay with the action, I think. So we've got Matthew Davidson still out the front. Kane Foster pulls off. His Waikato teammate really putting in a lot of hard work for him here. That's 141 Kyle Paris.
It's going to be interesting to see who's got the legs for the sprint at the end. There's been a lot of work done from a lot of the major players in this race.
Matthew Davidson just absorbed by the group there, but there are riders all over the track here.
So at the moment, the points look like Lucas Bimey on 7, Josh Parsons on 6, Wolf Penne on 5, Kane Foster on 5, Matthew Davidson on 5, Lucas Sanders on 2, and Josh Rowe on 1. So still a lot to play for here.
Coming into 4 laps to go, have Lucas Sanders, no, that looks like Wolf just slightly off the front, but he's been absorbed again. He swings up. Magnus Jameson hits the front, Lucas Bimey on his wheel. Looks like Lucas Sanders and Matthew Davidson behind him.
So four Canterbury riders, 3 Waikato riders.
Josh Parsons swings up. Looks like Magnus Jameson not too happy with that. He's going to dig on hard now as Matthew Davidson rides away again.
A few riders in there just wishing they'd stop, I'd say, at the moment.
Comes through 2 laps to go.
Pretty relentless the last 10 or 15 laps. So Jamison now just taking control. They'll come through here and get the bell next time.
So we see
Kane Foster just moving himself forward and just trying to making sure he's got a way out of wheel 3. So Jamison attacking through the bell. Lucas Bimey, Kane Foster, those are the 3 guys. And then behind him is that Lucas Sanders.
Yeah, looks like Wolf Penny going backwards off the back. Hard to tell those 2 apart.
So comes Lucas Bimey coming over the top of Magnus Jamison. Is he going to be able to, yes, quite comfortably there. Lucas Bimey, did Kane Foster get over Magnus Jamison?
Big lunge at the line there from Kane Foster to potentially come over Magnus Jamison.
So it looks like Bimey would take that out. 10 points for the win, 7 points to date, so it's 17 points total.
So as we saw there, as you can see on screen, just riders everywhere there. Matthew Davidson going with, just hearing that we have a replay here, so we will cut to that in a second. Cutting to replay now, so see Lucas Bimey coming around Magnus Jamison, just clearing out there, and then Kane Foster coming in fast with a big lunge to the line. Looks like Magnus Jamison's just held him off there for the double points in second. You can see Lucas Bimey's getting congratulations there from Jamison there.
So there's your winner, Lucas Bimey. Very good race, accumulating across the race, and obviously taking the final sprint as well. So race put under a lot of pressure by the Canterbury team in the final quarter of the race. Great attack from Matthew Davidson.
Yeah, Matthew Davidson really riding away there, and then also a couple of the other Canterbury riders following. And then just the bunch really shredding itself. We saw riders scattered all over the velodrome there at the end. Really intense racing from our under-17 men there.
So the standard depth of racing here has just been carried on every event.
We can see the exertion.
Seems to get better than the last, and this is great.
See the exertion there. Lucas Bimey just taking a few minutes, hands on his knees. He's really dug deep for that one.
Another big day from these young athletes. Great. And the under-17 women sprinters just getting ready. It's a great camaraderie amongst these young riders. They'll all be as happy for their friends as they are for themselves. So it's good to see. So second ride, under 17 girls sprint final. This is the second ride for the bronze medal. We have from Tasman, Michaela McDonald, and from Southland, Caitlin Kelly. Caitlin taking out the first ride. So is this going to go to 3? What does Michaela and Jason think about that? So Michaela has drawn 1, Caitlin 2. Very important race for Caitlin. For Michaela. As we saw last time, it was a very, very close finish. So Michaela must have a good level of confidence going into this race.
Just getting the final okay from the commissaire here.
Caitlin looking very fixed on the track ahead of her. Michaela just looking up under final instructions.
So Michaela been involved in 3 very tight rides so far. She'll be looking for one to actually go her way here. What do you think, Hannah? Do you think, looks like she wants Caitlin to lead her out again. She's been very strong from both positions.
I think she knows that she's capable of completing a pass and winning. You know, obviously you have to do it, but you know, I think she has some confidence in that.
I think looks like she definitely prefers coming out a second wheel.
You've got something ahead of you, you know, something to chase. You can see you're not having to look back all the time and you know, try to keep a handle on what's happening behind you. Again, you see Michaela just building some pace out of the saddle, both of them out of the saddle. But Caitlin's really keeping the pace high. Michaela again, exactly the same as the last ride, kicking at the right moment.
Looks like Michaela takes that one. Big lunge at the line again, super tight. Just settled in really nicely through the back straight there and started coming around through turn 3, turn 4, drew alongside, and looks like she may have executed it there, but I was wrong last time, so let's wait and see. Yep. Coming on with a replay here, so just seeing Michaela slowly drawing alongside, coming out of turn 4. Coming out of the bend, up the track a little bit, really kicking on hard, big throw at the line, tight as you like.
This is great textbook timing, great pass, so well done.
Just showing her prowess of coming out of that wheel and really accelerating through turn 3 and onto that final straight.
I think, you know, both riders did everything that they had to in that race. And you know, it was a good ride all round. Great competition. Maybe make a coaching video out of this.
Absolutely, some great tactical and technical riding from our under-17 girls here.
So Michaela McDonald taking that one from Caitlin Kelly, so they'll go to a third ride. Big day for these girls. So now the second ride in the gold medal matchup between Meg Baker from Canterbury and Jodie Blackwood from Auckland. So Jodie in position 1. She'll take the lead off the start. So Jodie always very aero. Very slippery through the wind. So good distance being given by Meg there, just far enough away that gives her lots of scope to move and react as she wants, but close enough to be able to quickly get in the slipstream, run at the wheel. Nice height from Jodie. Just needs to be careful that she doesn't leave 2 lanes. Meg just accelerating with Jodie. Just keeping a nice gap. Just starting to close it a little now as coming into the bell. Jodie just building speed quietly. Now full gas going through the start-finish line. She's trying to maintain that gap, make it hard for Meg to run. But it's a perfect gap now to run at. You can see Meg running at that. Is she going to be able to get alongside? Doesn't look like she can get alongside through the corner. It's going to be a tough game. So great ride from Jodie, national champion.
Meg Baker looking super comfortable along that back straight, but just Jodie continuing to accelerate through turn 3, turn 4, and then just really bringing it home strong.
Yeah, great ride in that final. Jodie, 2 very well executed rides. Meg riding well as well, but let's also acknowledge the hard work she's done today, the racing, the points races and all of that. So Meg's had a great weekend so far, or great week so far. Jodie, great sprint competition. Now we'll have to get our bronze medal ride, get those riders ready for their third ride, best of 3 obviously.
Yeah, quick turnaround time for that third ride, but both riders in the same boat. Going to see who holds up under that fatigue the best.
And I think both riders know how to win that round, that third ride. So they'll give them just a few moments. They'll look to have at least a 10-minute gap from that second to the third ride. So they'll just make a wee gap in here. So there's been some really good racing today in these match sprints, and probably, tactically some things are, almost beyond their years and experience. So, we've seen some great video this week of young riders, doing some exceptionally good things in these sprint events. So, good opportunity for us through these SkyNext videos to review competition and have a look at what was done well. I think there's been so much quality racing.
Great value in being able to go back and replay what happened on video as well. Oftentimes what you remember in your head can be quite different to what actually unfolded. So being able to go back and see what went wrong and what went right and trying to build on those things can be really helpful as well. I'm sure coaches will be making the most of that going forward at the end of this Nationals.
So we're just looking at Michaela just circling around in the infield, having a quick chat with Jason Craig as she rides past, and she'll be reflecting on the last races, and there's been a lot of really good riding there, and she'll be thinking, well, how do I do this? How do I make sure that I can deliver my best plan, give myself the best chance in this race? And I'm sure Caitlin's away somewhere quietly, sitting on the rollers, thinking exactly the same thing.
So we see Caitlin Kelly just entering the frame. She's come back out, ready for that third ride in the bronze medal final. Just seeing the riders there drawing their number, obviously seeing as we've gone to a third ride, they need to redraw there to figure out who's going to be rider number 1, rider number 2.
So the officials being kind to them and just giving them a few more moments. It's been a big day.
Looks like Michaela's ready to go. I think she just wants to get this underway. See two different approaches. Michaela just rolling around, keeping the legs ticking over, whilst Caitlin just sits down and just takes a minute to rest, talk to her coach, perhaps talk through what the plan's going to be going forward here.
A lot of things going through your mind. It's just, what do you do that keeps you calm? Keeps you thinking about the things that are important and clearing those things that aren't. I think the interesting thing here, it shows that having facilities and passionate people is an important part of in the sporting landscape. You can see that the growth of the track in Tasman with the completion of the Saxon Oval, these young riders coming out, passionate people like Jason Craig there taking Michaela up to the track that are able to lead those programs with a great deal of international experience. And you know that the advice that Michaela's getting from Jason is first class, and her ability to develop off that will be great.
So just looking now to the third ride in the bronze medal final under 17 girls sprint. after two extremely close rides, we come to the third ride. Looks like Caitlin in first wheel and Michaela in second wheel there on the higher side of the track. Michaela, right where she likes to be on second wheel. She's shown us in the last round that she is extremely powerful through turn 4 and onto the home straight. So,
if you think back to the Olympics and World Championships, watching the Canadian sprinters, very much the same, very strong, powerful.
Really good top end speed as well. Being able to accelerate even when you're at really high cadence, keeping it smooth, as Hannah was talking about earlier. Not bouncing around too much in the seat, really being able to push that gear over even when you are rolling it over 140 RPM. Caitlin obviously quite happy on the front.
So in a lap and a half, there'll be a time of great emotion, some elation, some disappointment. But they're all here, and both jump at the same time. So Michaela just initiates that, trying to push forward her shoulder, but Caitlin's really strongly at the moment coming out of turn 2. So Michaela's going to have to push hard like she has been. She's coming hard at the wheel. I think Caitlin might have the slight advantage at the moment.
And it comes down to a throw for the third time in a row. Looks like tight finish again. Maybe Michaela right there, working on a replay for you now.
I think we might be able to see the emotion on the riders' faces as they come past. Here we have...
out of turn 4, Kayla drawing alongside. Big throw to the line. It's close.
Michaela, take that on the line. That's tight. Again, another really good reason why I'm sitting this side of the track and not the other. Not even... Oh, Michaela McDonald takes that. Caitlin Kelly second.
Bronze medal.
Bronze medal.
Bronze medal going to Michaela after 2 strong final rides there, coming from behind to win 2 in a row. That's excellent execution from her there. Incredible riding from both athletes there, though.
I think across the 3 rides, the total distance between the first and second ride is probably about 30 centimetres.
They don't come much closer than that.
No, this has been excellent racing. And I think everyone should be feeling very pleased with themselves, with their performances, and with the effort that they're putting into the racing. This is first class.
Good signs for the future of women's sprinting here in New Zealand.
I think, good signs for sprinting, but I think it's just good signs for cycling here. You know, we've got
Absolutely, we've seen all of those athletes. I think 3 of our top 4, they're also competing in the points race that's just been as well. So awesome to see, really, how versatile those athletes are.
Exactly, and I think too, you know, probably the most important thing is that we're able to have this competition and have these people, you know, these young people here competing as hard as they can. So that's the most important thing, is, you know, everyone wants to be on a start line somewhere. They want to be here with their friends, having a lot of fun. And I think they're having that. If you looking down at the infield, you see a lot of happy faces.
Absolutely, as they say, fun is fast, and we saw some fast riding there today from our under 15s and under 17s. Really cool to see the depth across both age groups.
It's almost unfortunate that there were winners and losers out of today, because the quality of racing has been a pleasure to watch.
Do you think we need to introduce the top 5 mountain bike podiums here, Hano?
That'd be good. I might have got off a few more myself.
Me too.
You know, I just think that we do need to think, you know, how we celebrate success, and you know, success doesn't always appear on the result sheet. So, you know.
Exactly, the progression of a rider, you can easily come from further down the field up into that top 5 and still miss out on some of that acknowledgement, I guess.
Just simply getting better at something is something, you know, that we should celebrate. So, you know, let us celebrate the podium while we're here at the moment, but let's not forget the people that pushed these 3 people so hard to that place. So, well done to everyone. Some excellent riding, excellent coaching. Great day.
Yeah, big thank you to all the coaches and the parents and the support staff who allow these athletes to grow and develop healthy, nourishing environments that they're allowed to develop in. It's really helpful, really good for the sport, really awesome to see.
Ladies and gentlemen, the award ceremony for the 2022 Track National Championship Under-17 Boys Scratch Race will now take place. Dr. Monica Robbers, the Cycling New Zealand CEO, will present the medals. In 3rd place, and the winner of the bronze medal, representing Southland, Magnus Jameson. In 2nd place, and the winner of the silver medal, representing Canterbury, Matthew Davidson. And in 1st place, and the winner of the gold medal, and your 2022 Under-17 Boys Scratch Race National Champion, representing Waikato Bay of Plenty, Kane Foster. Kane also receives the HF Litoff Trophy. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us and show your appreciation for the place getters in the 2022 Track National Championships. Ladies and gentlemen, the award ceremony for the 2022 Track National Championship Under-17 Boys Points Race will now take place. The medals will once again be presented by Monica Robbers. In 3rd place, and the winner of the bronze medal, representing Southland, Magnus Jameson. In 2nd place, and the winner of the silver medal, representing Waikato Bay of Plenty, Kane Foster. And in 1st place, the winner of the gold medal, in your 2022 Under-17 Boys Points Race National Champion, representing Auckland, Lucas Bimey. Please join us and show your appreciation for our podium place getters in the Under-17 Boys Points Race. The award ceremony for the 2022 Track National Championship Under-17 Girls Sprint will now take place. We welcome Dr. Monica Robbers back to present the medals. In 3rd place, and the winner of the bronze medal, representing Tasman, Michaela McDonald. In second place, and the winner of the silver medal, representing Canterbury, Meg Baker. In first place, and the winner of the gold medal, and your 2022 Under-17 Girls Sprint National Champion, representing Auckland, Jodie Blackwood. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us and show your appreciation for the place getters in the Under-17 Girls Sprint National Championship podium.
Thank you for joining us for session 1 of day 3 at the New Zealand Track National Championships. Tune back in at 3 p.m. for session 2 with Rushley Buchanan and Adrian Hedjavari for our women's group 2. They'll be covering the individual pursuits and the Para C1 to C5 500 metre time trial. Both Rushley and Adrian, good pursuiters in their own right, so it'll be awesome to have them commentating for those. Today's broadcast brought to you by SkysportNext and SBI Productions. Our sponsors for this event are, event sponsors and supporters Skoda, Amber Garden Centre, Trillion Trust, and the Cycling New Zealand performance partners Southern Spars, Cask, Lacole, Vittoria and Digirate Chainrings. Thank you for tuning in today. We'll see you again at 3 p.m.